Live from our studios here at Kokomlemle. Good morning and welcome to the AM News right here on the Joy News channel. Now let's begin with our top story. And traders in Sowutuom are reluctant to open their shops for businesses after 2 persons were gunned down over the sprinkling of pokoi in Sowutuom on Sunday. Now eyewitnesses identified the deceased as the Obrafo and the son of the local chief. According to them, the confrontation started when residents of another community, Jenowohom, tried to sprinkle popoi in Sowutuom, a traditional dish central to the festival, despite resistance from the Sowutuom traditional leaders. Now, this was followed by a gun battle leading to the death, and Collins Frimpong reports.
The incident happened in one of the busy trading hubs in Sowutuom, surrounded by several container shops. At the location where one of the deceased fell, a closer look revealed blood droplets, but a tire burnt at the same location smears the blood marks. Some of the aluminium containers had bullet holes in them and shattered glass windows. The area was quiet as opposed to the vibrant Sunday sales. An eyewitness recounted what happened.
And the gunshots that was going on, bro, I don't know where they got the bullets from. For like 30 minutes continuously, the gun was just flying. We just asked what was the problem and we were told, you know, when people were having their homo and they wanted to come and sprinkle quickly here. But this place is for the Sowutuom land. So the Sowutuom people said no, they won't allow them to come and sprinkle people here. That is the fight. The injured, I can't say because a lot, but then 2 people died.
Confirmed?
Confirmed. By the Sowutuom people. The Obrafo of Sowutuom, and then have to do this. The son of the chief.
Another woman who was so shaken by the incident said many of the traders fled the scene to avoid being hit by stray bullets.
Yesterday, they destroyed all our wares, including our glass containers. As you can see, when the situation later got worse, we fled into people's rooms to hide out of here. By 3 p.m., we closed all shops and took our children home.
By 3 to 4
At the time of our visit, there were no police or security officers at the scene. Some residents are still afraid to come out or even open their shops, fearing reprisals.
No, yesterday the place was quiet. I mean, everybody closed the shop. Because this morning, I learned more people didn't open their shops because they are afraid it will happen. And it will happen. As at when, I don't know, but it will happen. We live in the area, we know how the area is.
The police are yet to comment on the incident. For Joy News, I am Collins Frimpong, Sowutuom.
And in an update by the police, we understand that 3 people actually lost their lives due to the clash. Let's move away from that. And less than 24 hours to the Akwatia By-Election, the NPP's national organizer, Henry Nana Boakye, is raising concerns over what he describes as a huge security lapse. And in a Facebook post on August 31, he claimed police checkpoints in the area have been deserted despite assurances of heavy security deployment by the NDC. The NDC is also disputing his claims. According to the NDC's Director of Elections and IT, Rashid Tanko Computer, the location Henry Boakye referred to is not Akwatia, but Isamankese, dismissing the NPP's concerns as misleading.
Akwatia, as of now, it is a baseless accusation against the police. It has no foundation and it should be dismissed completely. I passed through where he posted. It's not in the Chambo district. That is Asamankese. When you are coming from Asamankese, it's a checkpoint in the night because that stretch is very dark. So the police put up those checkpoints in the night to make sure that evildoers don't misbehave on that route. Daytime, you hardly see them there because the road is so busy daytime. Come to Akwatia and see, you see the number of roadblocks, checkpoints. In fact, today they have even searched our vehicles. My minister is here. We went around to visit some communities, and every point we pass, there are checkpoints there, and they will make sure that they check everybody before you are allowed to pass through.
Now, Mr. Rashid Tanko Computer also urged the National Peace Council to engage the NPP ahead of the elections on September 2.
We will attend the meeting. We'll go and listen to them. What we do know is that we are ready for peaceful election. We have trained our people. Our deployment strategy, everything is top-notch. And we are ready for the election come 2nd September, Tuesday. The Peace Council should rather engage them. They are the people who are causing all the problems here. As we speak now, they are apprehensive here, trying to create an impression that doesn't exist.
All right.
Now, a good education is meant to be the key to a brighter future. But for students at Prang Senior High School in the Bunu East region, that key is being weighed down by a daily struggle for the most basic human necessity, clean water and a decent meal. Established over 3 decades ago, the school now finds itself crippled by a severe lack of infrastructure, forcing over 2,000 students to trade precious study hours for a search for water and to brave the elements just to eat. Our reporter Anasabit has the story from Prang, where students are making a desperate appeal to government.
Good education is the bedrock of any nation's future. But what happens when the very environment meant to nurture that future is crippled by a lack of basic amenities? For students here at the Prang Senior High School in the Bunu East region, the pursuit of knowledge is a daily battle against inadequate facilities and a severe water shortage. The school, established in the year 1992 and with a current population of over 2,000 students, was meant to be a beacon of learning. But today, it stands as a stark example of neglect, where students are forced to make impossible choices between their studies and their basic survival.
We have water challenges on campus here. How it's affecting us is when we come back from school and there is no water in the campus, we struggle to go outside. And when we come in late, before we go to the class, it will be late for us to go to the class.
Like, it's affecting us. Maybe it may, we'll get some larger time to study. The time that we get, we use that time to roaming about in town because of water. So here we are struggling. We are suffering because of water facilities.
The search for water is a daily pilgrimage. Study hours are sacrificed as students, mostly young women, trek through the town with yellow gallons begging for water from boreholes and sometimes from sympathetic residents.
During prep hours, some of our colleagues will be roaming in town looking for water. We are not getting water in this campus. And water price is expensive. 1 jar, 1 cedi.
Let's say tomorrow some of us have paper. Now that we are searching for water and there's no water. Let's say if I didn't buy, how can I go and sit with my colleagues in the class? So I have to search for water before I go and learn.
But the water crisis is only one part of the story. The school has no dining hall.
We have no dining hall. That's the first problem we are facing. And the secondly, the dining is poor. The quality is small, the food is limited, and how it has been prepared, it is also down.
For years, students have taken their meal under the shade of these mango trees. It is a picturesque scene with a very ugly reality, especially when the skies open up.
When it is raining, at times they will push the food. The kitchen staffs, they will bring the food to the dining hall, then they will come and leave it here, then they will go back. So after the rain, then we will come and serve. Sometimes to eat around 8 o'clock because of what? The rain.
During rainy season like this, we can't come to dining because the time that is time for us to come to dining, maybe it may be raining. So we manage our gari and sugar that we have. And sometimes if we don't have gari and sugar, we will sleep like that.
The absence of a secure, enclosed dining facility also raises serious concerns about food safety and general security on campus. The students' play is not for luxury, but for dignity. A basic right to eat a meal in peace and to have access to clean water without jeopardizing their education.
We want the government to come and support us. We are suffering. We need water facility in this campus.
We are pleading on him to come and give us dining hall, water, the broken halls.
The situation here at the Prang Senior High School is a clear contradiction. On one hand, you have a determined student body eager to learn and make their mark. On the other hand, an environment that actively works against them. Their appeal is simple. They are not asking for a 5-star hotel, but for the basic tools that will allow them to focus on what they came here to do, to learn. For Joy News, I am Anna Sabet reporting from the Prang Senior High School.
Now imagine attending class at 4 in the morning or late into the night. That's the new reality at GH Schools, which has launched a 24-hour academic system to widen access to vocational and technical education. Akwatia By-Election has more on this report.
The initiative introduces dawn classes from 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. alongside evening sessions from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. in addition to the regular morning and afternoon schedules. Management says a midnight sessions may also be added. Rector of GH Schools, Leslie Adolistowell, says the school has been oversubscribed, especially in fashion, catering, and multimedia programs.
Because of the wonderful things we are doing here, we are always oversubscribed. Especially our fashion department, our catering department, and our multimedia department.
Security for the late night and dawn classes will be reinforced by the Achimota Police Command, while healthcare arrangements have been secured with Midway and Achimota hospitals. Management says the new round-the-clock schedule positioned GH Schools as a pioneer in aligning education with Ghana's 24-hour economic vision. Dr. Kofi Osei-Kusi is Chancellor of GH Schools.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this 24-hour academic system aligns perfectly with the government's 24-hour economy initiative, which is to make learning accessible to a broader audience. We here at GH Schools commend the government for this visionary policy, which would undoubtedly further unlock Ghana's economic potential.
The initiative, when fully rolled out, would mean students in Accra could also be in class while the rest of the city is asleep. Akwatia By-Election's report for Joy News.
Away from that, the president of the Infantsiman Saltpond Development Alliance, NSD Graft Iju, has issued a strong reminder to President Mahama to fulfill his 2022 pledge of marking the National Founders Day celebration in Saltpond. Now, speaking at the maiden Saltpond Homecoming Festival, Mr. Iju recalled that President Mahama, while in opposition, vowed to commemorate the day in Saltpond in recognition of the town's historic role in Ghana's political journey. Abigail Isel in Nkrumah has more in the following report.
And it will be a worry, you know, your budget. In
a display of community and merrymaking, the people of Saltpond celebrated the first ever Saltpond Homecoming Festival, an occasion initiated by the Infantsiman Saltpond Development Alliance, MSDA. In his address, the founder of MSDA, NSD Graft Iju, highlighted the theme for the festival, adding that the festival marked the formal inauguration of the alliance.
We gather under the inspiring theme, reuniting our roots, reimagining the future. These words remind us that whilst we honor our past, we must also take responsibility for shaping the future of Saltpond and Infantsiman.
He also called on government to move the 2025 Founders Day celebration to Saltpond, revealing it was a promise President Mahama, then in opposition, made in 2022.
The President of Ghana now, then the opposition leader, and the special guest of honor for Nkusuku Modavia in 2022, responded to me as the youthful chairman, and I quote him, and spoke to Nananum that said, obey President or the Founders Day Baba Saltpond. And to Mr. President, today when you see me leading the youth of Saltpond and the citizens of Saltpond, our appeal to you is that fulfill your own promise. And I know you will do it.
The special guest of the festival and group chairman of McDan Group, Dr. Daniel Macaulay, reflected on how tourism can be promoted in Saltpond.
Actually, when I was coming here, I was thinking, as an entrepreneur, how we can transform Saltpond to bring wealth to this area. Some few things dropped in my mind. Immediately, what we can pursue, what we can push to bring tourism here. Ideas, innovation, and bravery, we can make it happen.
On the sideline with the media, the Deputy CEO of the Ghana Tourism Authority, Gilbert Abeku Agri, appealed to the traditional authority and youth in Saltpond to foster unity to promote development in the community.
My appeal to the traditional leaders as well as the youth of Saltpond is to come together and forge, unity for development. The only way development will come to this community is when there's a reason for people to come here. And one of the reasons could be festival celebration, because it's a socio-economic venture or activity that brings people from all walks of life.
From Saltpond, Abigail Lesal Nkrumah reports for Joy News.
Well, it's now time for the business update, and my colleague Samuel Kutubrace has that.
To our first story, Richard Kekmesa, who is the head of communications for the Ghana Gas Company, is assuring Ghanaians that the plant is back on stream and has been retrofitted very well to make sure that it produces power for the people. And he's assuring that there's no cause for alarm. He noted that the plant is ready to produce gas for production of power for the country. Mr. Mensah further revealed that the government is set to begin work on a second processing plant which will help provide relatively cheaper electricity for Ghanaians. His remarks follow the successful completion of maintenance works on the gas plant.
I want to categorically state to all Ghanaians and all relevant stakeholders that Ghana Gas Processing Plant is back on stream. We are processing and we are safe. We are going to produce for electricity consumption and industrial growth. There's no cause for alarm. The plant is safe. Everything is on course. The current administration, led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, is very much committed to start the second processing plant. This project is long overdue. Unfortunately, it didn't materialize. And the President and the Minister of Energy are very much committed. There was a technical committee to review whatever works that done previously, and they have finished their report and they have submitted to Cabinet. If not for the tragedy that befell us as a country, I think by now we would have known the timelines. So within the shortest possible time, I think when Cabinet meets, they will give us the timeline for the commencement of the second processing plant. And I know a lot of Ghanaians are waiting impatiently for this project because it's going to give us jobs, it's going to give us relatively cheaper electricity, and it's going to open door for industrial growth.
The Ghana Revenue Authority has clarified the issues raised by some importers and exporters over unfair auction of perishable goods at the port. In a statement issued by the Customs Division of the GRA, it noted that the allegation of non-adherence to customs procedures in the auction of perishable goods at the port is not justified. There's more in this report.
The statement noted that the Customs Act 2015 have provisions on the treatment of perishable and non-perishable goods, which have all been strictly applied in all forms of auction. In the case of perishable goods, Section 53 authorizes a proper officer to immediately dispose of goods after 21 days of overstay through public auction. Motor vehicles, on the other hand, under Section 55, 57 and 59 of the Customs Act are given special treatment with valuation and clearance within a 60-day period. The Ghana Revenue Authority noted that it is erroneous to indicate that importers have 60 days within which to clear perishable goods. Importers are, however, encouraged to use the pre-cargo arrival clearance, which enabled them to pay the duty liable prior to the arrival of the cargo. Additional payments may arise if discrepancies are detected upon cargo inspection.
And that's all in the business update for this morning. Also, that's all in the AM News. Up next is AM Sports. To stay.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
How has your weekend been? How was your last week? What's on your mind this morning?
Well, let me take the opportunity and welcome everybody to September. I think it's a month of love. From the health domain, I think it's a sickle cell awareness month. Beyond that, the weekend was a bit eventful, let me use that word, because of tragic loss of lives within the Sowutuom enclave. And it's a very unfortunate incident. I'm deeply troubled, and I want to express my condolence to the families who have been involved in all of this. More importantly, the chief of Sowutuom, whose brother's son has been killed. So that has been my weekend. Homo is supposed to be celebratory, not mad with death and gunshots. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have, I'd say that you have superintended that constituency for a while. You may have seen a lot of homo wars over the years. Does this really come to you as a surprise? What's usually the cultural temperature of that area?
We've had uneventful homo wars, except for the fact that I think that some of the guidelines were missed in terms of territory and police order for the day. It should have been that any pokwe sprinkling should have been just on your compound, so as to avoid going into an area where somebody might feel that you're entering into his domain. But this has to be looked at carefully, and I think, I mean, people might say I'm politicizing this, but our security in this country needs another beef up. I think we've fallen by the indices that have been published, and these are some of the incidents that trigger the indices to drop us much lower. So I think we need to be very mindful as a nation. If our insurance was being paid for loss of lives lost, this would have definitely increased our insurance bill. And I don't know. We certainly need to address it, and it should be early so as to not have repercussions. These things, when they do happen in a community, if you're not careful, additional lives may be lost because of retaliation. So I'm very concerned.
Does it bring to the fore the conversation around chieftaincy disputes and all of that? Would it be surprising to know that it may have stemmed from something, at least, a variant of such?
No, it is. I mean, it's not that you are making an assumption. It is chieftaincy. It is territory. And unfortunately, it so happens that in Greater Accra, many of the chiefs tend to have very rowdy boys who follow them. And sometimes the actions of those boys or, men are not acceptable in terms of, shall I say, land guardism and the fallouts and the numerous drugs some of them use in the thick of celebration. So it is a major issue, to the extent that sometimes people even have to engage the military to protect their own lands. I mean, which is so unacceptable. We need to get to a point where the rules of the land must be applied. And I think the state doesn't own lands in this country. I mean, literally, it's all in the hands of the chiefs. And that is, I think, part of our problem. If it was state-owned and things are done in accuracy and appropriateness, some of these unnecessary turf wars and disputes and killings will not happen.
So you side with people who are proposing that government should take over lands and rather manage it than it being in the hands of families and chiefs?
If an appropriate arrangement is made and royalties are paid to the appropriate quarters in terms of the royal families, I think it might be the best approach. In the sense that it will reduce, one, more importantly, the double sale of lands in this country, where, you know, sometimes the cousin sells and then the brother also sells. I mean, that is sometimes the most ridiculous things. And what is even more crazy is that one family may sell for a decade and then it moves to another family. And instead of the other family stopping after a decade, they still continue. And these are some of the rifts that innocent land buyers go through. You know, personally, we've had to buy 3 or 4 times the same land in Accra. I mean, that is a very common experience. If you really want the land, you end up paying about 3 people for the same land. Sometimes you even pay the person who also bought from the family, just to, you know, avail yourself or have peace of mind, because he feels that he rightly bought it. You also think that you rightly bought it. And truly, you both pay the same person for the same piece of land.
Between that and government ownership or government managing our lands, if government did manage our lands, do you think that a lot of people would be able to purchase lands? Would it be just centered at the upper class level, especially state officials or people in government? The proximity to owning a land in the country, if government was managing it, just top of my mind.
I mean, I think that, for instance, in the eastern region, we could do what we call a pilot program and try it out. And what I believe in, unfortunately, is that the demarcations will be much better, and you cannot go and buy government land and buy land in a street. That will be very serious, and a serious indictment on government. And for me, for that reason, if government was, you know, allocating land and certainly making sure that the remunerations that are supposed to go to the chiefs happen, I'll be much obliged. Or somebody can put a program into the chiefs and then, you know, run it either at Brie or somewhere. And when it works, you can then replicate it. These days, these guys who buy in acres and resell, even that, sometimes the chiefs will come back at the homeowners and say that, hey, you need to pay some royalty. So those those are some of the unfortunate bits. If you check with those who have bought from real estate developers, unfortunately, our chiefs, when they are a little in need of finances, will come knocking on your door again and make all kinds of allegations that, you know, they are the rightful owner and the developer bought it from their cousin and all kinds of things. So land issues in Ghana, I mean, we may have to learn from the Brits. The Queen, yes, the whole land is for the Queen, but it's not the Queen that sells it. It's the government that bequeaths or as it is, leases the lands out.
I think we can learn in country. The Ashantis have a better system. We don't hear a lot of these things from them, not so.
No, they are also learning, trust me. To the extent that, unfortunately, I remember dealing with some cases in Jusso with regards to CSIR properties that people are clamoring for.
Okay.
And you know, as it is, this is earmarked for government use, and some chiefs are selling it. Even Asante Hine was complaining about University of this thing, Kwame Nkrumah University.
I thought they were blameless.
And making a strong case that as for that land, it is for him and nobody. You know, so if it's not an issue, the whole Asante man, the chief or the king, His Majesty, cannot be saying publicly that if you dare touch my land.
I guess is where the challenge, customary law and our laws, and where it emerges. But okay, so in front of our newspapers, but are you getting ready for tomorrow in Akwatia? It's just a few hours.
Yeah.
What is it looking like for you?
Well, on a very personal note, I want to put this on record that I think that too many lawyers are depriving their clients of their own land. And actually, some of these practices are very unacceptable. and I say this with the greatest respect to the legal practice, I think that this lawyer who was representing the former Member of Parliament of Akwatia, the NDC former Member of Parliament, and then subsequently went into primaries with him, I think that that is a travesty, and that is unethical. That is my thinking, and I think that there's a conflict of interest issue there for somebody with privileged knowledge from his client, and making a case in court that his client won the elections, and making all kinds of arguments that his client, then the former Member of Parliament, won, and for him to, within the space, and mind you, it's been just 8 months this year, so within the space of almost 6 months of handling your client, you then decide that for some strange reason, he wasn't the rightful person to represent the people. I mean, that is what it is. And I find it troubling. And I think that by this behavior and character and action, he will not be a good representative of the entire Akwatia people. That is my feeling about this. This is not NPP, this is not NDC. I think that the legal, is it council or bar, should look at this. And certainly, as an ordinary citizen, I want them to comment on this, because I feel that many lawyers are using their privileged office to deny their clients of things that are due them. And I'm citing the likes of land and the likes of property. And this goes within the, things of conflict of interest. Should you come and deal with my divorce case, I'm sure you end up taking my wife.
Would it be strange, because then you're divorcing the wife, are you not?
Well, divorce is a process where you can even have mediation and reconciliation and possible remarriage.
Would it be okay if it ended and the divorce was granted? The divorce petition was granted.
It's even wrong to marry your client's wife. Really, I think.
Ex-wife?
Well, okay, ex-wife. The optics are no good.
Okay, same analogy. If a lawyer represented a suspect, a murderer, right, and you know that this murderer is guilty of it, but they need to have a lawyer. If they did, by this analogy, would you say that the lawyers are representing these suspects because they believe? Can you import the same analogy? Because then...
No, this is... My point is that you represented a former Member of Parliament making a strong case that he won the election. And within the space of the same 6 months, you contest him. I think, you know what, he could have contested 4 years from now. I'll have a problem.
It won't be okay. It will be okay if
yes,
there was some
4 years. I mean, listen, conflict of interest has to do with the timing and the optics, and I think that nothing, people are telling me that nothing stops him. It's not everything that is unethical that is documented. The optics are bad. And for me, listen carefully. You were representing one individual. You broke or you breached the trust. Now you intend to represent the entire Akwatia. Come on. I mean, I think that is wrong.
Aren't these two different things?
Well,
representing an individual.
What you did to the individual person, you multiplied, quadruple, or even if there's a word a triple.
What is there for him to deceive his people on? If he's representing them in Parliament.
You are now going to be the people's representative. Mm-hmm. When you were just the one-person representative, within a short time, you took away what he was begging you to represent him for. So what it means is that all the goodies that you are going to beg on behalf of the people of Akwatia, it will end up in your garage. Oh. That is how I'm seeing it. And forgive me, I'm being very almost apolitical here. This is being objective, not being colored by NPP and NDC. I think Ghanaians should look. I'm weeping for the former NDC MP, not even my own MP, but the former NDC MP who trusted this lawyer with privileged information to handle his case. And within the space of 6 months, the same guy is saying that, you know what, I want your position.
I can do better than you.
I'll do better than you, and yada.
But this is politics, not so.
It's not being a
optics.
Every day, you know.
Optics.
But politics in itself, generally, politics.
Is backstabbing?
Do you carry optics in politics anyway?
Oh, listen.
If we did this, we wouldn't hear politicians make promises on the same platform and show up the next time again as if they're not the ones that made these promises.
No.
Because I think the architecture of politics in itself, this shouldn't be surprising.
From a very professional standpoint, when I entrust my life into a doctor for surgery, I'm putting my life in his hand. And in this case, this client was putting his heart, his chocho-micho things in the bosom of the lawyer. So when I'm giving you my heart and you just stab it, that is very unacceptable. So, I mean, that is how I feel about this. And there are many Ghanaians whose lawyers have deprived them of things that they were trying to fight for, especially land and property.
Do you have personal experience?
Oh, I have some that I can share whenever you're ready. And some have had depression and died after these. And I think that the trust that the client held for this lawyer is broken. And for that reason, he should not be awarded to represent the good people of Akwatia. Those are my thoughts. And I would have hoped that many legal minds would write about this. Or let me posit the question, do they think it is right?
But do you see how this is difficult? I did think we're going to stay on this for a while, but do you see how this would be very difficult for lawyers to actually want to speak about? Because then you find lawyers represents the exact thing that in their normal life they said no to, but in court are making a case for. And it's just the nature of our laws. Otherwise, lawyers will never buy shirts, lawyers will never eat anything. If you look at the law profession and the way it is, it's not their passing. They really work with the laws.
No, I like defense lawyers of all categories. But my point is that the defense lawyer, like, if you are defending me, it doesn't give you the professional ethics to then become involved in my family matters.
Okay.
That is my
beyond
whole
that,
point.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
What does it look for? What does it look like for the NPP?
Well, my biggest thing from the NPP is that we want it to be a very fair playing grounds. And once it's fair and we win, fantastic. Once it's fair and we lose, still fantastic. The key point here is that we want this by-election to be very professional. We want it to be based on very key principles. And we think that the NPP has done well by the people of Akwatia from times that they've allowed us to. And more importantly, it's a very sad happening. And we feel that in the interest of Akwatia and the family of the late Ernest Kumi, it will be most appropriate that the Akwatia people allow us. After all, it's been going swinging. So this 4 years, you know, they just should still give it to us this 4 years.
But when the people are aware now that the NDC is the one forming government, and what they need is development.
Correct.
And they know how a minority MP will struggle to bring in development. Is not will.
Yeah.
May struggle. You think the chances are bright for them to hand over to the opposition NPP in this by-election?
I think that it gives the NDC some leverage, but the two characters involved also matter.
Okay.
We have a local person who is into business locally, lives there, does everything in the community, as opposed to someone who spends a good amount of time outside of the constituency. Okay. You know, case in point, the lawyer who lives in Accra. So sometimes in the local politicking, the people will feel that the homeboy is much better. You understand? And they would love to have the homeboy instead of the person who's from outside. And in that case, I think that our candidate has a more stronger, better chance.
Because
However,
he lives with the people.
When you are in power, you tend to have more lucre. And because of lucre, you tend to be able to do more for the people during the by-elections. So instead of maybe 10 cutlasses going around, they might take 20 cutlasses to share, which, whether you like it or not, incentivizes the farmers in the place, and for that reason, once you are bringing on board some solutions, they might do it for you. But you have a very strong point. Once people are aware that the NDC is in power, they tend to want to go with the party in power. But the only dicey thing is that the character of the people involved matter. And this one, maybe local politics might play a major role. Like I said, North, we were in power, but the opposition won because the character of the ex-Canadian or former Canadian meant a lot for the local people. In this case, a lawyer who is representing one person and then decides that, no, the goodies that the person is going for, he rather wants it. That kind of character, I have a problem with it. I have a problem because if he wants to be the people's representative, then what he did to the one-person representation, very unacceptable. Well,
we're joined by David Vondi, MP, Chefo Eti Mokwa as well. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Vondi.
Thank you. How are you?
Dog,
how are you? What's your name? Good. Yeah. I feel with you.
How's your weekend been?
God is good. We're fine. I mean, it's been funerals, it's been going around, family meetings here and there, but it's all good. I mean, that's what it is, man.
What in the news has your attention? And what's it looking like for the Akwatia By-Election for you tomorrow? But what else in the news has your attention?
Well, first of all, good morning to my brother. I mean, he's a nice person. We've been in Parliament together, and Akwatia is an election that's not going to change how Parliament looks like anyway. So it's an election that it's for the people of Akwatia, not for any political gain, actually, because it's not going to change the number of seats the meaning of seats that we have. None that is going to change anything that the NPP, have in Parliament now. So for me, it's an election to determine how you get, development to your area. So it's an election to determine whether you want to go for who is having the goodies and be able to approach, ministers and the president himself, or you want to go for somebody who directly is going to be a loggerheads and the opposite side of government who is actually controlling the resources. So these are the determinations that the Akwatia people would want to make, but I believe strongly they want to go with the one who's having a goodie.
Okay.
That's all about it.
Beyond the truth and the obvious in Parliament, you don't think that this is a scorecard or a score sheet for the government?
No,
it won't be the people marking what the government, because you're in government, so who wins will really mean a measure to the work of the current government.
I mean, that determination, if you like, that concern, will play some role, but not that much. Because the point is that if we want to use that measure, then the NPP was not going to get even 10%. Because the government is doing so well, and I'm sure that everybody knows the government is doing so well. Pick all the indications, and Doc, you agree with me that you're looking fresh today because of what the government is doing. And so if we want to use that measure, that yardstick, then the NPP should not get anything less than more than 10%. But the point is, yes, I mean, that's going to play a role, looking at what the government is doing and looking at the economic situations now, the dollar relation and to the city. You want to look at the fuel prices, you want to look at
which is about
prices,
increasing.
You want to look at all the indicators. You would say that then, hey, let's go for the government that is doing so well.
Would you be surprised, as
the point is,
would you be surprised if the NPP wins? Would you be?
I don't see anything happening like that because...
No. Will you be surprised?
Would you be surprised?
I will.
Okay.
I will, because you see, in Ghanaian politics, okay, sympathy votes really do not work. You remember when His Excellency Professor Mills died? When we had to go for elections and we actually wanted to capitalize on that so much as the NDC? Remember what vote Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo pulled?
In that election?
If sympathy works, Nana Addo shouldn't be getting anything like 49%. So sympathies really do not work in our elections. Elections are more of NDC, NPP, whose party is winning, whose party is not winning. I mean, but my condolence to Ernest and his family. I mean, he's a very good friend of mine, and we were in the same committee, and you know, he's a very nice person. But the point is he was a very nice person. But this election, it's about how Akwatia is going to look like after the election. So he's representing them, who is actually going to be articulating their view in Parliament, who is able to, you know, speak properly for them in Parliament.
But you just said that in Parliament.
You know, so for the point is,
in Parliament, it won't matter. So who cares if they can raise the highest and the finest of debates?
Yes, it's very important.
It's just NDC and people.
No, it's very important.
Particularly this constituency is a swing one. It's such an interesting swing constituency so much that...
And you don't want to have anybody sitting in Parliament who is not able to even express himself and they call that person your MP. You don't want to do that.
But both of them,
again,
the front runners are...
Well, fine, I'm not going there, but we can look at them. You're having a lawmaker who is coming to Parliament to represent you to make laws. This is a gentleman who is related to His Excellency Mahama, who is having the goodies. You don't want to go and choose somebody who is going to be at loggerhead with the party. The powers.
So are we saying...
You don't want to do that.
So are we saying that if you are not related to the guy in power, you cannot represent...
The dynamics are different, and I'll explain to you.
Okay.
The general elections, nobody knew who was going to win. We're all hoping to win. So those that might have won the NPP elections and 87 members of parliament, these are people who won elections because it was a general election. Now the elections are over. Now we know where the power is. So you don't want to go and hurt the power. You don't want to go and be the one. So otherwise, you're going to be seen as somebody who, I mean, you don't want to do that. So the point is, the Akwatia people will go for the ones who is having the power. That's all about it. You know, the Jechi Kwesing issue was a very different issue.
Why so?
I was on the ground to campaign for Jechi Kwesing because it was an issue where we thought that at the time, taking Jechi Kwesing out of Parliament was just unnecessary, it was unlawful, and so forth and so on. So what went on by-election, we explained the matters to the people and they understood it. I mean, it was a hung Parliament. We got to do everything we have to do to ensure that we have that hung Parliament moving, because then it was working for us. But this time around, what's he going to gain? What are you going to lose? You only have to look at development, who is having the goodies, who will give us some, who will pay attention to us, and you don't want to fall in that trap.
So, my biggest thing, though, I mean, what he's saying makes sense. However, the character involved is where I have a problem.
However,
the character representing the people is where the issue is. It doesn't mean that anybody without morals should necessarily be allowed to represent people by virtue of the fact that they are with the party in government. So I'm of a very different opinion, and I think that representation is not necessarily only about what comes to you, because let me state on record that all the constituencies in this country agreed for the loan to work on the Amasaman in Sowutuom Road. It is not by virtue of just a member of parliament for Amasaman.
I agree.
So I think that it is not just about Akwatia, but we need somebody who can contribute to the entire workings of government. And for that reason, I think that it's not always just about your constituency. I tell people that, listen, when given the chance, the things I do are not just for Sowutuom, it's for the entire country.
Exactly.
And that also matters.
Do you have any concern, especially, let's situate it well.
Yes.
Before he came, he shared a very, very potent argument that, listen, don't trust a man who was lawyering somebody and then decided to want to take what
Ordinarily, I am of a personal opinion, if you like, that was a little odd.
Okay.
You get my point? But that was my view, and it still remains my view. The people of Akwatia decided to go for whom they want, and that's the choice they've made. The process of selecting who is our parliamentary candidate in these by-elections was more of a very open, elections. Everybody came in there to vote. Delegates were given the opportunity to elect whom they want as Constitution, require, and it was done. I may sit somewhere and think that because Henry was my friend and is still my friend, and that he should be given the nod. But I have no power in voting. I have no, voting rights to vote there. The Akwatia people knew, and they know what is good for them. So what are we talking about here? Morally, you want to talk about somebody who was a lawyer?
I don't seem to cut you, but this is not the Akwatia people.
I mean, this is...
We're here to get the delegate. Delegate are quite different.
But if he wins, are you not concerned about... If he wins,
yes.
Are you not concerned about such a person being part of the government's framework?
No, the point is...
Would you have trust for him?
Yes, I mean...
You will trust him?
Yeah, you will, because the Constitution allows him to do what he did. And so, why would you want to worry? Point is that, I mean, my seat, for example, there are a lot of people in my party that won my seat. So they will contest me during primaries.
But that's not odd.
It doesn't matter whether...
Would it be odd?
No.
If people in your party wanted to contest
it's not.
It's not. But if you're a lawyer who was, fighting for...
Again, like I said, personally, that's the concern anybody may have.
Okay.
But the fact that you have that concern doesn't mean that constitutionally...
It's elections, it's politics.
I mean, these are politics and so forth and so on. I tell you what. I remember when the delegate, some people from the NPP went to CSC Dunketia, and told him that they were not going to contest the Tamale Central, seat. He told them, well, thank you, but we are coming to Akwatia because Constitution allows us to come. If you decide not to come, that's your own choice. I mean, if the gentleman felt that he was a lawyer for whoever and then he feels that he wants to contest and the Constitution allows
not whoever.
Constitution allow him to contest. Again, I don't think that there is anything wrong about it. You can talk about your moral, your feeling about it and all that. Yes, I mean, you can talk about it. I can talk about it too. But the point is it wrong constitutionally?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Right.
So for me, I think that we should move on.
A few stories on the Daily Guide.
People should choose whoever they want to choose. And I believe they'll go for the NDC, gentlemen.
You do?
That's all I mean.
Okay, it's just a few hours. We'll know shortly. By the end of tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely.
But your Daily Guide this morning says that who leads NPP? The race for flagbearer begins, and the photos of the 5 people who have filed their nomination by end of last week boldly in front of the Daily Guide. Another story that may interest you is Oti region records 22,000 typhoid cases. Stories on page 11 of the Daily Guide newspaper. And as well, Chief's son, 3 others killed, several injured. Sowutuom Homowo shooting, and Doug has been speaking about this as well. The Daily Guide as well is reporting Binyiri conflicts they've told it rises to 18. Not a good one. Okay. Which one do you want to talk about? You want to talk about what?
The NPP thing.
Why? Hang on. Take a minute. Breathe in. I'll go to Doug. I'll go to Doug.
I think he should borrow from Atta Mills. Do fias.
I don't know what I was going to say.
So let me first of all commend all 5 gallant men who have put in to lead the party. I think it helps us narrow down on the path that the party has to take in the next foreseeable decade, and these are bold men. I personally side with Dr. Prang SHS, so I need to disclose that, and I have my reasons. My reasons being that the party is at a point where we need to become more attractive to the youth, and I think that Dr. Prang SHS has that knack to be able to bring all of us together and make the party more attractive to the youth by way of his messaging on the need to create jobs, the need to improve on Ghana's infrastructure. And you know, he has a track record, and that makes it more easier in terms of his own businesses and the fact that his businesses have generated revenue and the fact that he has tangible things that people can actually see and feel. And for that matter, he's an embodiment of the two stalwarts that we had in the last contest. I mean, his academics are good, with PhD in information systems, law degree, 4 masters. I mean, fantastic. So his academics are good. And then his business side too is very good in terms of into IT, Rock City Hotel, and even surprisingly, he's building a large airport, bigger than Terminal 3.
Hey.
You know, which, yes, Info, yes.
Airport?
Yes.
All by himself?
Yes.
Wow.
Bigger than Terminal 3. In fact, the runway is the biggest in the world now, as we have it.
Why?
Based on the length.
Has the runway been done already?
It's been done and not tarred, but done. You know, so the stretch is a bit above 5 kilometers. I think the highest in the world is 5.1. I think he's done 5.3 or so. So
curious about how an individual is able to undertake a project that's bigger than what a government can do.
Well, his current platform is what all the banks in this country use. So let me say that in very simple terms, he's almost like an investment banker. I mean, that is what I can almost say. And that is his side that people are not aware of. Every bank in this country runs off his software, and the insurance companies as well. So he's a finance person, and more importantly, if you talk of digital improvement and innovation in finance, that is Dr. Brian Champon. So I think that even looking at our campaign last election, which was largely on the digital economy, that is his strength, in addition to securities and intelligence, which he's getting a second PhD for that. You know, so I think that his academics are good, his business acumen too is solid, and he's an embodiment of the two. And we think that also in politics, when your cobwebs are fewer, it improves your chances. And we think that he's a strategic candidate for us if we really wish to win 2028.
How is it looking?
Well, for a new entrant in the game, and let me state that our real campaign starts from Tuesday because our party secretary stopped us from campaigning. So we really will start venturing into the various 276 constituencies after the Akwatia elections. And I think the truest picture will come out after we've engaged 276 constituencies. So I think it will be premature for me, but I must admit, I wanted to celebrate huge milestones that we've achieved within the past 120 days, just when he started. Now he's being talked about in many homes, and I think that...
Is it for the right reason? Or some of the comments?
Oh, I mean, listen, I think that they are all for the right reasons. In politics, trust me, when you get talked about, it means that you're doing something. If you're not doing anything, people won't talk about you. So once you become a very serious contender, you get talked about. And to clear some of the issues, one that you just raised, which was the commentary. I think that, first of all, the NPP party needs to confront the Boko conflict head-on. It's very important as a party. In the history of our party, the likes of Edubuahe, the likes of Kufuor, have never had any belonging to one side when it comes to the Boko conflict. And this is the only time that we have a candidate who has an affiliation to one side. And I think that Dr. Brian Champon was being very clear to the party that though there were issues in our election related to the party and our governance, the candidature also needs to be looked at.
No, but you've seen that the other side have also brought out statistics to sort of water down on the impact of that.
No, we are saying that there are multiple, issues.
Yeah, I'm talking about
one.
Yeah, I'm talking about. You've mentioned here that in that particular conflict, your candidate belongs to one side, not so. That's what you said.
That is the fact.
Now the data,
the fact?
Yeah. The data they brought out indicate that the other side voted 30. He got 38% or so percent of the vote.
We could have gotten 60%. We'll say no.
What's wrong with that fact?
Yeah. So that is why we're wondering why, if Dr. Brian Champon has stated that there are numerous things that affected our wins, and we have a 2 million plus deficit. So to clear that 2 million plus deficit, we need to look at all the issues that may make it very difficult for us to achieve beyond 2-point-something million so that we can win 2028. And this is why there was an uproar. And let me also be very clear here. Listen, if you listen carefully, there's a portion where he says that even holding religion constant, supposing we presented a candidate with no affiliation to any of the two parties in the conflict, our chances would have been better. So when you go out and say that he's being religiously, insensitive, then it begs the question, you may have not understood clearly what he was saying. I hope you get where I'm coming from.
I do, but if I want to import the same analogy, you recall that this conflict did not just border around Boko. I mean, some weeks ago, we recorded some incidents in Ashanti region as well.
It goes all the way to Western North.
Absolutely.
Plains.
And so if the people who were saying factually the vice president belongs to decides to also want to target, and forgive me, an ethnic group that Brian as well belongs to?
No, we as it stands, I don't think there's any conflict.
Because
no, I hope you get where I'm coming from.
I do.
And we have to admit on air, listen, I'm not being difficult here. We have to admit one key thing. Once you know this, that the NPP party is neutral with regards to Boko, is very important and will remain neutral. However, we cannot discount the fact that we have one candidate who seeks to lead the party who happens to have an affiliation.
But look, is it proper?
Because it pitches us already in a way against one group. And that one is not wrong.
Is it proper for... Yeah, and then is it proper for you to...
We never said he's the cause.
No.
And we will never say it. But the affiliation cannot be discounted. Listen, you are a party that has huge deficits. You want groupings to show up. And what I mean by groupings, people who would tend to like the party and vote for the party. So we are just saying that, listen, though the party had issues, the governance bit had issues, the candidature also has to be looked at. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
I can even almost stretch and say that, listen, at one point, one of your key strengths was economy, which also didn't play out. I mean,
let's stay on this. Now, you agreed here that this conflict started way before him, right?
And you and I know.
Let's take it.
You and I know.
This conflict started way before him. I'm coming.
When you've agreed.
You've agreed that this conflict started way before him, right?
Oh, I have said it here.
So you've agreed that one.
Yes.
Now, you're also saying that because he belongs to one side, we cannot overlook it. That's what you're saying. That's what your side is saying.
As a serious party,
okay,
all of that has to come into consideration.
Now, if people say that people who are named Kisis, because mind you, he didn't choose where he has to be born to, right? I'm coming. You know that. You don't choose where you have to be born to. You're born into a family. You're born into a tribe. Now, if people say that people who are called Kisis are not good people and therefore must not be leaders, will you allude to that?
Let me help you even further. When you go to Ashanti region, your affiliation with Menchia can score you points in your election. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we all have those things. Now, your affiliation too can go against you, depending on where you fall.
I can't help but agree.
Yes. So let's be just, if we're not truthful, we cannot solve our ills. And I think that this culture of always covering up truth it won't help. Let's be open the wound up, let it heal. And if we don't deal with this, and I think Dr. Champon said it carefully, that we have about 3 years to election. We need to see in our SWOT analysis the issues we can deal with now and the issues that will be presented to us at the tail end. Because these guys, listen, we're going up against these guys who can raise up, anything.
Did you do the math to see the total or the percentage of votes you may lose up north in that particular area? Listen, would it be very significant?
Listen, we can do all of that, but listen, elections are no guarantees.
So
Trust me.
You take every number at all.
In every election you go, you're looking at all the groupings. And what I say by that is that, your Beam Nation people, you're looking at your Shatter funds, every grouping matters. So that you are careful in your relationship with all the factions to ensure that you don't lose votes. And I think that for a party in deficit of 2 million plus votes, it is not wrong to look at every detail thing that may go against us.
Before we move on, what led to Brian Achampon dropping vote in his constituency?
Listen, if you're a very astute politician, the longer you stay, your votes will drop. It is a natural tendency. Now, let me also add that this is the election we spent so much and got so miserable in terms of results. Since the NPP started, let me put this on record, that I can almost ascertain that we've not spent as much in an election like we did in 2024.
Really?
I mean, I can, based on the population in this country, based on the cost of doing politics, I can only assume.
But that's for you for the NPP. But him, the vice president, the former vice president, the records are saying that he performed for the first time, for somebody who is contesting as president for the first time.
That is not the case.
For the NPP as a party.
Nobody has been vice president and contested.
No, not
except
for
Ali Muhammad. No, I'm just trying to help you in the analysis.
Okay.
Nobody has been in prominence for 16 years before contesting. Let's put that on record. I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Kufuor was not vice president. Nana Addo was not vice president, was he? So listen, if you want to be...
You say that his performance as a first
How do you measure him to somebody who has never been vice president? We should measure... We've never had a vice presidential NPP candidate go for election.
But
maybe we ought to wait until the next vice president also does, and then we can talk.
But I get it, but why not hold the parliamentary candidate whose performance also, helped for you to get to where you are, but you want to just go for him because he's a simple, target.
Please,
an easy target.
Listen to this. We got 80-something plus parliamentary seats. As for the presidential, we got 77. So if we even want to say that holding all things constant, I mean, then you'd ask yourself that our popularity in terms of presidential is far lower than our popularity in terms of the, parliamentary seats. Because it would have been a more potent thing if we had 100 presidential wins as opposed to the MPs that we got 87. Then I would say that, listen, we should give this man a chance. I hope you get how I'm coming from, because his popularity is bigger. And mind you, if you're a serious political party, the presidency lifts the members of parliament. It's not a reverse.
If Brian was not in this contest, who else would you be supporting?
I prefer not to do the ifs and the buts. I mean, I'm a realist. So as it stands now, and let me say this, listen, it's a very painful decision people have to make for the party's interest. Very painful. And, Brian says that he himself was strong Baumia, supported heavily financially, not just his strength, but heavily financially. But when the data came, and he realized that, wait a minute, these results are quite bad. I mean, not just quite bad, quite seriously bad. For any investor, when you finish with one business and you're looking at the next project, you go at zero and weigh everything. And that is what a good, objective person does. And then you check that, has the landscape changed? What caused this? And if that thing will not change, you might as well advise yourself And yesterday I was listening to some podcasts in the US, and they said that, listen, a lot of the people are untruthful about why they didn't vote. They'll give you an excuse, but they're untruthful. And as a political party, you need to be mindful of those untruthful things that you'll be told, which are not the reason why people did not vote for you. And when you go after those as creme de la creme, the holiest of holy reason why people did not vote for you, then you have to address it. And that is why we're presenting an alternative to Ghanaians. That, listen, some didn't like Ken for one or two reasons. Some also proffered why they didn't vote for us in the last election for one or two reasons related to the party, governance, and the candidate. And Dr. Bernard Champo says that, listen, I'm presenting myself, one, to give the party a new image, and as it is, provide solutions to the needs of the Ghanaian people. I've been doing it. I have a track record, proven and profitable, and I can do it. To address one interesting thing, my mother once told me that even with rumors of John Dramani Mahama selling the ports, he has been made president again. And you'd rather have somebody who can use his acumen to better the lives of people than to have somebody who cannot. So the delegates have a very historic decision to make, very monumental.
But which of the men in there that cannot use his acumen to benefit the people?
No, it's a race. We always want better. Mm-hmm. It's a race. We always want better. And I think that a proven track record means that you've translated knowledge and ideas into something that generates profit. Mm-hmm. And that is my point here.
Mm-hmm. So between Brian and Ken,
he prefers not to be for that.
Well, I mean, listen, mm-hmm. I said some key things here. Mm-hmm. Brian's academics are good. His business too is good. So we have two in one. And that makes Brian superior to Ken. And Brian's track record in terms of business, though he's not disclosed for very good reasons because he was private, I stand to be corrected. For business-wise, Brian is an industrialist more so than any of them. That one, it remains, anybody can make a different argument. But I want to tell Ghanaians that Brian is an industrialist compared to any of the other four candidates. Nobody is more of an industrialist than Brian. And when we say industrialist, we're not talking about just business, we're talking about industry.
You see how Vondi keeps smiling. He's taking the weapons you're giving him.
You're invited into the home now.
Yeah. I mean, Vondi knows Brian because of his fourth tenure in Parliament. So the political experience too is there. And Vondi and I know that the parliamentary experience is very crucial. And let me also add that for NPP, if we're a very serious-minded party, getting our seats back should be our preoccupation. Then we can get presidency. And of all the five candidates, the one person that Vondi and I know can help NPP get our seats back is Dr. Bernard Champo. And that is also very crucial.
I'm sure I've been invited to the conversation.
Yes. Invited to your home.
I intentionally brought you in.
I've been invited to the conversation. You see, Brian. First of all, I think that my brother Brian is doing so well in his business and, of course, as a lawmaker in Parliament, a member of Parliament. I thought that he was going to concentrate on that. The NPP is not going to win election 2028. It's not going to happen. I mean, that's just about it. Again, as a young man, Brian, if he feels that he wants to be in a race maybe for the next 30 years, he wants to be part of it, want to be seen contesting, presidential race and all that. I mean, that's fine for him. Some people, they have so many reasons they do contest elections. And if Brian feels that it will help his business, exposure, if you like, this will add to his CV. I mean, he's contested an election to be president before in his party and all that. It speaks so volume, for him internationally. So for me, Brian being in a race, I thought that he could concentrate on his business, but that's his own choice. And again, I don't really want to go into whether or not he's going to win or not. He's not going to win, whether he's going to be a good president or not. Well, I'm not sure. I want to be part of talking detailed about the NPP, issues. I mean, the NPP, they know themselves and they know whom they want to choose. But I am more concerned about the way they structured their, electoral process. I don't know, they named something they call top-bottom approach, right? With the greatest of respect, that is not even a top-bottom approach. When you look at the charts, the hierarchy of representation of political parties, okay, leadership, okay, the flag bearer is not part of that. Now, you have the grassroots that you want to call the branch executives, elections done, then you move to the constituencies to have your constituency executives, then you elect them. Then you go to the region to have your regional executive elected. Then you move to the national executive to elect your national executives, then, which of course includes the national chairman. That ends the political, leadership and party structure leadership. The flag bearer has no position within that chart. The flag bearer is an individual, if you like, that will be selected after the structure of the party is being formed. Then you go look for somebody to come and contest an external election that other political parties have representation and people will contest as well. So within that political structure, that structure, you have no position, place for a flag bearer. Now the NPP say they want to do top-bottom approach. If that's what they want to do, then you should go electing your national chairman first. Then you're doing top-bottom, because the person you are electing, the position you are electing, has no place within the political structure. So in any case, you're already a confused party. So you shouldn't be talked about at all. For me, you shouldn't be talked about. Now all of them are cooking all these things because they want to do it for one person. The former vice president, that's why they're doing all these things. They want to cook it for him. And we are happy about that. We are really happy.
They're cooking what? For who?
I mean, they are cooking it for him.
The top-bottom approach.
No. It's not a top-bottom approach. This is a confused strategy.
That's what they say, so we stick to that.
I'm saying that.
Is that not what you say?
All they are doing, they are so confused. They know if they go through the structure. They know if they go through the structure properly, Bawumia wouldn't win, and so they would have to do all these things because they want Bawumia to win.
But mustn't that be good news for you?
And that's why I'm happy. I mean, so hold on. The fact that I'm happy doesn't mean I shouldn't say it. I'm happy. They should go ahead. Brian wouldn't get the nod because they aren't doing the right thing. If they do the right thing, because I tell you what, today, if you pick their register that they're going to use to vote, to have this election, there are a lot of people with the greatest respect that might have died. So we'd have to do elections to get people who are incapacitated, people who have traveled, and the register is not credible as we speak to you. Now, do you know what they're doing? You got some people who are writing some names trying to, because there was no elections. From the bottom to the top, to have a credible register to do that election. That is how credible, responsible party happened. That's how they behave. Unfortunately, all they are doing is that, okay, so we got some delegates who voted for the vice president a few months ago to run into the 2024 election, so let's use the same people to vote for him again. And that's what they're doing. So they're so confused. The party is so in disarray. And these are people who are coming together to just try to monopolize the power that they feel that they are the people who the party belongs to. And
did I hear you say that if they did things right, Brian could win?
I'm saying if they did things right, any other candidate could win. Brian could win, Japan could win. Do you know we have two Japan?
There are two yeah.
Any of them could win. But you know, for example, Kwabena Japan, for example, the more he sounds loud, the more he is so quiet in this party. He's not being heard in this party. That's a very nice gentleman whose track record in politics is so nice. Somebody who is, been seen as President Kufuor's boy, and so they're trying to sideline all of them. That's the NPP strategy. And this is a very nice gentleman. Look at the reason that the one who didn't contest, Ade Nimo or something, gave monetization of the party's structure and all that. I'm sure Brian is so rich, like you say. I mean, he can contest whatever money they want to take, man. So that's how the NPP.
Industrialist.
That's how the NPP is being formed. So confused, and a very confused party, doing everything to make sure Bawumia wins, and we are happy. I mean, bring it on. They should bring it on.
Find the structuring.
That's the point.
We keep demanding that we get fair play. Granted, admittedly, there's a good number of people in the higher hierarchies who would like the status quo. But that is politics. You always go up against the grain. You always go up against the Goliath. And some of us are very determined. To change the status quo. Yeah.
How determined are you? What are you trying to change?
Listen, like I told you earlier that, this is sports. And like any game, when you go and you don't get a trophy, some people will ask for the captain to be changed. And we also know that there's evidence of a change in captain helping teams win matches. And that one, I'm not here to try and tell you the number of Chelsea matches they didn't win until somebody came. You understand? Coach and captain makes a whole difference. So like us, we think that granted the party has issues, we are very firm in our mind that should we change the captain, in this case, the person that leads the party, we are assured of a far better chance of winning 2028. That is our thinking. Now, a party so big like the NPP should not have trouble having some people think that way, just like any sports fraternity.
Okay.
And we are making a strong case to the delegates that we are very...
You have to change the leader.
...hopeful that with that change, the narrative of the party changes, the likability increases, and for that matter, when you're at the helm of affairs for 16 years, people get tired of you. That is also another thing. And we
were you not part of the system when he said that Fasti Anemami, because he was part, but
he was giving a steering. You remember that? When he went to Swan Magazine, then they prepared some nice steering, and they gave to him. They gave him the steering.
Yes. I thought the message was that he didn't have the power.
You guys are joking, man.
Have the power.
There used to be a culture in
I'm sorry.
That president and vice, you go away for a new chapter.
Okay.
And I think that tradition should be still considered. We feel strongly that
there's a culture.
Kufuor's time, Nanado said it frankly that Kufuor and his team should go Mokoya Moko Abba. And there are a lot of people in the NPP and the rank and file needs this change. It helps. Change is good, but it is never accepted by those who are in authority. That is the norm. But change certainly is good.
Okay. There's a story, we are wrapping up, but there's a story on the page 3 of the news center. Government to revoke LI 2462 to ban mining in forest reserves. I mean, you've gotten what you're calling for. Everybody said,
I've always been environmentally conservative in my thinking. I was also vice chairman of Environment, Science and Tech Committee, and I strongly support this revocation. We need to think of Dachimba, and I really think that these were some of the decisions that were unfavorable under the NPP administration. So this one, myself and the entire world is in support of this.
Okay. All right. Ondi, your concern is suffering from mine, Galamsey, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very good thing. And I look forward for that revocation bill, that process to begin, and we'll all help to ensure that we take that out of our books. And not only that, try to ban importation of some equipment that are used in this illegal trade. So one of those equipment that I've talked about millions times is what we call chamfang. There is that machine called chamfang.
Yeah.
I said million times that I am within the environment where these illegalities do happen. Mm. You see, they build a structure, okay, and they put the engine on it to dredge the water. If the engine is not on the structure they build, the structure is useless. This engine is imported from China. Mm. So stop bringing the engine, and there will be no dredging in the river bodies. Mm. Is this one difficult to do?
It's very difficult for the politically inclined.
The chamfangs are sometimes actually mostly locally produced.
No.
They say
the engine chamfang itself.
The engine itself.
It's always brought in from China.
Then the body is.
It is the structure, the body, the other things that
even that they also import.
Okay.
Yes. So that engine is the only thing that capacitates the structure they build.
Okay.
So if the engine is not there, that structure will not work.
You are making sense, but not just political sense.
No, I'm not making political sense.
No, I'm saying that you are making sense, but it's not political sense. No, you understand what I'm talking about?
I agree with you. It must not be political sense.
Okay.
It can't. It cannot be political sense. If you want to make political sense in these things, then this trade will continue.
Yeah.
Okay. So we must leave politics and make sense, but not political sense in these issues.
Well,
stop importation.
We should go to the best tomorrow.
That means stop the importation, of the engine, and then the river bodies will be free from being dredged and being polluted, and that's all about it. And then, we can move on. Akwatia, we're winning the election, and that should not be more than 54%.
Well, I have some comment here for him. This one says, good morning, Sammy. Please, the assertion by the MP for Sowutuom that the people of Akwatia should vote for the NDC candidate because he will bring development due to his government being in power is a flawed one. This is because the over 188 NDC MPs, of which the MP for Jomoro is included, have nothing to show in their various constituencies. All MPs are entitled to say common fund. So I disregard that perception. The people of Akwatia should vote for NDC candidate in order for him to bring development. If that is the case, we should have won the Asim North by-election because NPP was in power. Francis Tando, Assistant Secretary for Jomoro, NPP, but he explained that. Yes,
and this is not a comment to be responded to.
No.
You keep quiet on it, and we'll say thank you for joining us.
This one says, why Prang SHS publicly supported Dr. Bawumia? His allegiance was not as unwavering as Dr. Kisi suggests. Notably, both Dr. Kisi and I were supporters of Alan's campaign, with myself serving as the Western Regional Coordinator. It appears that Brian Achampong covertly backed Alan's bid and strategically endorsed Dr. Bawumia following Alan's resignation. On Kufuor's second attempt in 1998 to lead the NPP ahead of the 2000 elections, his own brother-in-law, J.H. Mensah, described him as a rotten cassava, yet he beat them all. Dr. Bawumia's candidature stands out due to his remarkable ability to connect with a broad audience and his impressive personal qualities. His intelligence, tenacity, and humility, coupled with his dedication to party cohesion, demonstrate his capacity for effective leadership. I am convinced of his ability to lead the NPP. Professor E. Bruce Amate, you know him. He's in TTU.
He's entitled
to his opinion. All right, that's it.
Well, thank you for joining us on News Review today. There's more on the show. Thank you, Doctor, and thank you as well. You have a very sinister mind. You this man. Because we are your election headquarters, and time now for the biggest story today. All eyes on Akwatia tomorrow as the two giant political parties lock horns in a by-election that pretends to be fierce and too close to call. We'll look at the numbers, the voters, trends, and the politics, plus the security arrangements that should see the infamous Ablikuma North occurrence averted. Now, joining us for this very important conversation is Dr. John Osei-Kwapon, CDD Fellow, and also Professor Saltpond, Director of Research and Innovation, Kumasi Technical University. Thank you so much, Doc and Prof, for joining us for this very important conversation. Doc, how are you doing?
Good morning. morning. I'm doing very well. So?
Very well, thank you for asking. And Prof as well, how are you doing this morning?
Yeah, all is well.
Right. Thank you so much for making time for us on the show. So tomorrow, by-election, a very much anticipated one, of course. It's as if we have not had any by-elections in this country. We've had many of it, but tomorrow seems to have a very special touch to it. Have you seen the research, the Global Info Analytics research so far, Doc?
Yes, I have seen that, and if I recall correctly, shows that the NDC candidate has a bit of an edge over the NPP candidate.
Yeah.
Right. We'll start from there. What's your reaction to that?
Well, if I recall, it was a hotly contested race in the 2024 election, which eventually the NPP candidate pulled off. And so when I saw the numbers, I was quite intrigued to see the shift. But if you also look at the trend in Akwatia, if you discount the transition election in 1992, the 8 elections that have been held in that constituency, NDC and the NPP have won it an equal number of times, 4 each. There's also been a history of NPP holding the seat and NDC snatching it, NDC holding the seat and NPP snatching it. So the Global Info Analytics poll does mimic what we have seen in that constituency over the last 8 parliamentary elections beginning in 1996. I'm curious as to whether what the polls is showing now is a reflection of the candidates. I would have also thought that given the unfortunate circumstances leading to the seat becoming vacant, that perhaps voters in the constituency, there will be that element of what we traditionally like to call the sympathy votes, sort of giving that indication that perhaps the NPP has a chance to hold on to the seat. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens tomorrow. For me, at the end of the day, whoever is able to motivate their voters enough to get to the polls and cast their vote would eventually emerge victorious, because these things also boil down to turnout and who wants it so badly that they can get their sympathizers to show up and vote tomorrow.
Okay, maybe Kojo, let's invite Prof into this. If you have seen the polls as well and your reaction, and when I come to you, Doc, my question will be that in this country, really, does sympathy vote really count? Do people really vote because of sympathy, or they just vote because it's NDC and NPP? But Prof, first of all, your assessment of the polls and what it's bringing so far, the numbers.
Yeah, well, so what I think polls do is to give the stakeholders the feel of what is happening or what is likely to happen. Polls are not futuristic. They are current assessment of things. And so you take it, try and work things out if the polls suggest that it doesn't favor you. And then even if it suggests that it favors you, it doesn't call on you to go relax and maybe think that all is well. You still would need to intensify your gains and then try to make sure that those people come out to vote to reflect the predictions of the polls. But as we all know, Akwatia is a constituency that is not so easy to call. In 1996, where the first competitive elections was held, the NDC won with, I think, 57.4% of the vote, and that remains the highest percentage the NDC has ever won in Akwatia. The next would be the NPP, who would have also won. Their highest was 60.6, and that was won by our friend Amase, Madame Mercy Edujemfi. Outside these two, what I called outliers or extreme numbers, the rest remain within 47 and 54, 47. In Baba Jamal's case, for example, he wins with 50.1, and the NPP person trails with 49.9. So the two of them shared the 100%. It's been so close, and I do not expect this current by-election to also be quite different. It will be close. And so, yes, the poll would give an impression of a likely to occur event. But I still insist that if the NPP does well in their mobilization, last-minute mobilization, and ensures that if nobody turns out to vote at all, their core people, by now they should have an idea of who their core potential voters are, who their likely 50-50 voters are, and who their non-voters at all are. And they will not spend much energy on people who will not be going to vote for them. Mobilize those who will be voting for them to vote. And we will see the true picture, and then the same advice goes to the NDC. So, yes, polls will come. The impression is given. Work hard. If it appears not to favor you, you can win. And then don't go to sleep if it appears to favor you and think that all is well. You still need to work so hard so that when the actuals come, we will meet and compare the actuals versus the predicted and discuss where the variations did occur and what could be the reasons why those variations did occur.
I mean, how will incumbency in terms of the party that is forming the government impact this particular election?
Yes, incumbency in by-elections do play a very serious effect. By then, we know who the president is already, unlike the general elections where we do not know who is going to lead the state. Now we know who the president is. So campaign messages for incumbent parliamentary candidates, so simple. I mean, we are sending somebody to go get us development, and it is my father who is on the seat. Give me the opportunity, and I'm the best person to bring the development that we so much need here in this constituency. That is a very simple message that usually incumbent parliamentary candidates do put out. So, if the incumbent parliamentary candidates do not win, I mean, and I said it on your platform last Saturday, that what is simply one of the reasons could be that, yes, you gave us the promises and you were in the position to get us the development much better than the other person, but we do not trust that these assurances you are giving us will be delivered when we give you the mandate. So there is a lot for the incumbents, since in by-elections they are on the seat. But it's also not automatic that incumbent parliamentary candidates in by-elections do necessarily win. In the past, since 1992, we've seen parties winning. A very recent one is the Ascend North one, where the NPP was in government, the president was an NPP, but still the people went for the NDC candidate, who we would have thought was not in the incumbency. So, yes, we leave it to the people of Akwatia, and we expect a peaceful elections tomorrow, and we will meet to discuss the variation that will occur.
But how about the goodwill of the NDC government in general? I mean, we're in the 9th month, really, but the economy is rebounding. Things look on the upside. So how will that impact on the outcome of the election tomorrow?
Right. So when you localize the goodwill, you would realize that the people of Akwatia would have been affected in terms of their gold prices. They are into mining, and proud to this contest. I mean, before 2024, they were selling a blade of gold for 1,004. Now it sells around 800 Ghana cedi. They were selling a ton of gold for, say, 14,000. Now it is selling between 8,000 and 9,000, less than 10,000.
A pound of gold.
A pound, yes. A pound of gold. So when you localize the goodwill, the people of Akwatia will tell you that we are receiving the bad side of the goodwill. All right. So it depends on how these things are explained to them. If not, raw on the surface, you cannot say you are doing well, and our very source of livelihood is affected. Almost about 40% down the way things used to be. And they will tell you they still buy fuel at a high cost. Their inputs, their occupational inputs are still high, not affected by the reduction, but they would have to suffer in the way they sell their gold. And this thing I'm saying is some of the things that people are saying on the ground in Akwatia. And so, yes, it's a general goodwill for the Republic of Ghana. We all can't discount that the president is doing well. The first 8-9 months has been quite good. But when you localize the goodwill, perhaps it may not be on the same level.
Well, Doc, let's come back to, Doc, if you can hear me, let's talk about sympathy votes. Now, the poll seems to suggest that there's low influence in sympathy votes in this particular elections. Generally, and from your research, elections in this country, would you say that sympathy vote really played a critical role, and will it matter in this election as well?
Correct. It's sometimes difficult to quantify the extent to which the sympathy that a voter feels for a given political party as a result of the tragic loss then translates into an election vote. I recall in 2012, for example, there was some conversation around the unfortunate passing of the late Professor Mills and how that was going to inure politically to the benefit of the NDC. So that quantification is challenging to arrive at. I still believe that there is still a certain element, of that, but then the extent to which that becomes the game changer, I think sometimes is unknown. And as the Global Info Analytics poll, I think one of the questions that they try to get at is whether sympathy for the loss may affect their decision on which candidate they prefer. And it doesn't look like that is going to be the case. I still think that there would be some who would be motivated by that. The question is, will they be enough to be the game changer? That I am unsure.
In fact, it talked both about the sympathy vote and the popularity of the candidates. It says that the slow influence by sympathy vote and the candidates' popularity, but rather people will vote based on the government's performance. It's just been 8 months. Is it enough for people to want to vote based on the government's performance? Or you think that for this particular election, they will look at the popularity of the candidates?
As Prof. Sappo said, if you also look at, if you're motivated by the government's performance, every election is also local, right? You have to factor in the local context and the local circumstances. So if you believe that the government's performance is good, and I do believe that the first 8 months has been on a positive trajectory, if you can localize that for the people of Akwatia, then you would say that if they also see that same positive trajectory in their local circumstances, in their local economy, then I can see how it gives the NDC candidate an edge. But if they localize it and feel, as Prof said, that they are not, quote-unquote, feeling that positive trajectory, then you can see how that becomes a challenge for the incumbent. Candidate popularity, definitely. But I still would go back to voter mobilization and turnout, right? Okay. That regardless of how you see the government's performance and whether it's positive or negative in your local circumstances, regardless of your candidate's popularity, this is a game of numbers. And whoever can get enough of their voters to go out there and vote for them to cross, the finish line, I think will become very, very critical. And you can see that. You can see all the, the big names, the heavy guns, figuratively speaking, that have shown up in the constituency. From Dr. Bawumia, the president is going to be there to commission a DVLA office in Akwatia, all of that. It is all part of the mobilization efforts to get their voters out to vote. Because at the end of the day, whoever is able to, get their people out to vote, I believe, will emerge victorious in this race.
Okay.
I mean, is that why the NPP is sounding the alarm bells that, the national security is intimidating some people not to come out? I mean, can it all be part of this mobilization and demobilization strategy?
Well, we tend to also get, these things tend to happen, right? You hear stories or narratives around voter intimidation and all these underhanded tactics that supposedly a party is using or an incumbent is trying to use and all of that. I just hope that, at the end of the day, nobody uses any underhanded tactics, that the incumbent doesn't deploy the national security to try and intimidate people not to go out to vote and things like that. I think that would mar the integrity of the election. I just hope that it's part of sometimes, the quote-unquote, the propaganda that comes with elections. I just hope that is what it is, because if it's truly happening, then I think that would be unfortunate and that would mar the integrity of the election.
Well, Prof, let's talk about the research methodology, because I see that it says a 99% confidence level. If you have looked at the methodology carefully, do you have any challenges with the respondents and even the confidence level at all?
Well, it is still in the scope of a sampled survey. Usually, outcomes from surveys are efficient or sufficient if it is a population, if it's a census. But if it is not from a census and it is from a survey, a sampled survey, then we always say it is not a sufficient conclusion. In fact, it is only when you get a case where nothing changes, there is no disturbance in your sample, and we assume that the political parties have ceased campaigning, they are not convincing anybody. Nobody is shifting from left to right or staying at home to affect the predicted outcome. It is only when we assume all other things like that being stable and unaffected that we expect a direct confirmation of a predicted results. So that is what we expect. Here we know activities are still ongoing, and so the population view may not necessarily be exactly confirmed by the predicted view. So we allow for those margins of error and all those things. In fact, margin of error is a test of the positioning of the people as at that time. If we should do another survey today, based on the sample we use, we are also likely to have a varied margin of error. It's allowed, and it will always be so when the population is not at stake, not the entire census, the entire people of the place is at stake, but a sample is drawn. So that one we can allow, and it is limited to the sample. If you interviewed, let's say, 1,000 people, the margin of error, the confidence interval, and all those things are exclusive to those people you interviewed. If you should shift the sample, you may allow. But like I said, it's like fetching a spoonful of maybe a soup on fire. You just need to see whether the content is balanced. You don't need to drink the entire soup to know what the content feels. So it is equally important that stakeholders take sample surveys they take interest in it, because it was drawn from the Akwatia people. And sometimes just a spoonful of soup will give you a fair idea of the content of the soup. So yes, let's take it serious, but then activities are still ongoing, and so minds are swaying. Some people who he interviewed perhaps may even not turn out to vote on the day. If by natural order you are somewhere displaced from the constituency and you're unable to vote, all those things can cause a variation between the predicted and the actual that you may record tomorrow. So yes, it's still good to pay attention to research reports like that.
Well, Doc, will it be safe to want to talk about the impact of this particular elections on the 2028 elections? Maybe you focus on it on the leadership.
I think it would be a bit too early to project what happens in Akwatia on 2028. But what I also see happening is if the NPP wins the seat, I can see an emerging narrative of it is a reflection or a referendum on people's dissatisfaction with the NDC. I can see them framing the win as that. If the NDC wins, I can see a framing of the victory as we've been telling you that the most attractive political party today is the NDC, and this is, quote unquote, the end of the NPP, things like that. So depending on who wins and who loses, I can see some of these emerging narratives and how they spin it to the benefit of their political party. Overall, though, I don't think that, or let me put it this way, I think it will be a bit of a stretch to use the Akwatia by-election to project anything in terms of the 2028 election.
Interesting. But the Akwatia by-election, I mean, we know the history there already. If you look at tomorrow's election, how should we approach it such that it will be different from the other by-election that we witnessed in that constituency?
I think security, for me, would be extremely important. We've seen one too many, what we keep describing as pockets of electoral violence. And I've been saying that I just hope that those pockets of electoral violence do not become normalized as part of our elections. We saw what happened in Ablekuma North. And so for me, tomorrow, security should be as extremely tight, as possible. We don't want anything that would mar, an otherwise peaceful, go out, vote, go home, come back, let's count, declare a winner, let's go home. And so security definitely is what is on my mind, and I'm sure given recent events in Ablekuma North would also be on the minds of many. For me, that would be of prime importance. And then the second thing that I would add is I also just hope that the various sympathizers of the two main political parties would be able to hold, their political temperaments in check. I know that during these kinds of elections, there's always the desire to do what they call protecting, the ballot and being vigilant. And all of those things are important. But I also hope that the desire to do that does not cross into engaging in any acts of electoral violence, because, again, ultimately that mars the beauty of the election and undermines the integrity of our electoral system. So for me, those two things will be very important to look out for tomorrow as Akwatia goes to vote in this by-election.
We know the youth wings of both parties have some sort of, quote-unquote, what they call armies. With the history we know about Akwatia and with tomorrow's election, must the police sort of restrict the activities of these, quote-unquote, youth armies of these political parties as we head into the by-election tomorrow?
Yes, but in addition to that, the enforcement of the law would also be very important. I mean, if these quote-unquote youth armies, are simply there just trying to mobilize their people to go out and vote, or trying to engage in any of these sort of protecting the ballot kind of activities in non-violent ways, then that should not threaten or mar activities at the poll. But when they start crossing, the line and starting to engage in the kinds of activities that would create disturbances, that is where I expect law enforcement to be able to really, enforce the law. So again, for me, all the security preparations tomorrow will be very, very important in ensuring that the activities of these youth armies do not mar the beauty of the poll in Akwatia tomorrow.
Okay. Let's bring in Professor Kwesieni, who is a security consultant and knows more about these issues. Prof, grateful for joining us here. I'm sure you've been following the deployment by the police to Akwatia and all matters arising. What do you make of the preparation so far? Do you have confidence that we'll get it right this time?
No, I've always been confident that Akwatia will be okay. And my assessment, or my initial assessment, was purely based on the fact that post Ablekuma North, it would be disastrous for each of the parties to try to use their supporters, cause mayhem. because it simply did not make me, tactical sense that after one violent by-election or election, people will go ahead and violent. My assessment is that Akwatia will be calm, and that what we should be looking out for will probably be the third, fourth, or fifth by-election if we ever get to that place. So the figures that I have read, please confirm for me if it's 5,000 police officers who are in Akwatia.
That's what the police said they will deploy, but we don't know whether the numbers are up to 5,000. Okay. The deployment now.
Yeah. Now, we're there to deploy 5,000. That would mean we've deployed 1/7 of the total force strength for one election, one by-election. Now, that has a lot of implications for how we assess threats. It has implications for our understanding of the risk in Akwatia. But more importantly, thirdly, it raises concern about the distribution of our force strength, first prevent and then respond to criticality. So we see that in Teshi during the war, I think people have lost their lives, and the dancing of the here. We've seen it, I think, ML shooting on the street, a couple of people dead, and we've seen the violence in and around the Savannah region. We are not even sure the number of people who have died. So if we factor in all these examples and contrast and compare to Akwatia, what is so special about Akwatia that we need all these men and the armored personnel carriers? And what did we get wrong in Sowutuom, Teshi, and in the Savannah region? So it's not just about sending the personnel to Akwatia. It also speaks to our ability to identify especially hotspots, known repeated incidences on an annual basis that we need to be able to understand and prevent. So for me, Akwatia and the deployment raises other very fundamental challenges around threat assessment and the decision to deploy particular levels of strength to deal with those problems.
In fact, as of August 30, we understand the police has deployed some 5,500 personnel to Akwatia. So it means that we now know the numbers that are there, 5,500. If they are able to identify the hotspots, that gives some sort of assurances that we'll get it right.
Well, it ought to have been identified before. I think I heard the previous speaker using the term the armies of the political party. Look, until political parties themselves decided that they will discipline the members within their parties who are prone to using violence, identifying those within the party who fund and recruit, we can send the whole of the Ghana president to one constituency. Those who seek to cause mayhem will do it because they know that their political masters will pay for whatever fine that is imposed on them. So the onus really is on the political party to do what political parties do, to be driven by shared norms, shared principles, and shared values about democratic practices and electoral democracy. Because right now, I'm hoping that the Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliament and the Defense and Interior Committee of Parliament will give us the cost to the state of this deployment in Akwatia. And for us to challenge the political party if their inability to fulfill their supporting and the Ghana Police Service incurring this on budgeted costs is what we should be using our resources for. I mean, I can imagine the calculations, the planning, the contingency plans that the Ghana Police Service making to respond to other areas that need a presence, but diverting 1/7 of the sum total of the personnel to one constituency just shows the kind of crisis we have placed ourselves in, because political parties don't want to play by the rules.
Well, the New Patriotic Party has raised the alarm about some alleged voter intimidation, that the national security is intimidating some voters in the constituency. The NDC has refuted those allegations, and only to say that the national security led by Richard Japa are there on an anti-galamsey operation, not the elections. I mean, you really understand some of these things. Can you look at the timing and whether or not it was a right time to say we are going to do an anti-galamsey operation there when the by-election is coming on with the history of Akwatia that we know?
I've raised other larger issues around the timing of particular interventions or actions by state institutions when parties power. So I've raised about the timing of when he was cited by office because of mining activity. And my sense is that when the institution noticed that would be mine were not paying by the book. And then there was some destruction of some properties on the Princess Road where my friend Carlos Saloni, your colleague, was assaulted. Once more, when the demolition team realized that that particular property had to be demolished, when did they get the intelligence in these two? Now, Akwatia has been an old mining town until the UN, classified Akwatia diamond as conflict diamond. Akwatia was the first most productive diamond mine on the continent. So the timing is unfortunate. Because national security, in their assessment, I don't think drew the conclusion that the best time to conduct raids and to map out the extent of the problem should coincide with the by-election. And I'm looking for a time when national security as a national institution that works devoid of who is in power, delivers security, and they perform in a manner that people don't think it's ad hoc, that the timing and the choice of an operational area is also not determined by other factors over and above the operational calculus. And I think the timing is most important, because irrespective of the operational need for this particular intervention, the timing then raises questions and suspicions. And I'm hoping for a time when such operations are subjected to some conversation, amongst, let's say, the Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliament, because this is part of the national security operation, and it cannot be done devoid of parliamentary oversight, so that we can have this conversation. And the oversight institutions can then say, hang on it. Let's get this particular A out of the way. Because see, from where I sit, were I to be a Galactic officer or whatever criminal activity I'm engaged with 5,500 police officers on the ground, I think I will not decide to engage in my operation during this. And that comes back once more to my point earlier on about what are the variables that go into the risk or the threat assessment. What are the components of these different variables that we combine in different ways to draw the conclusion that, look, we need to act in a particular way? And any such objective assessment would have said, look, this operation might not really attain its objective because there are a lot of police officers already on the ground.
Okay.
The eyes of the public are on the constituency, and therefore these guys will already go underground. So we can do better than we are.
Prof, we're grateful to you for your insights this morning.
Thank you very much.
Professor Kwesianin, there is a security consultant. Over.
Well, let's now speak to the political parties, but we'll start with Mustafa Bandi, General Secretary of the NDC. Mustafa, thank you for joining us today. Tell me, what kind of election is the NDC going into tomorrow?
Hello.
Hi, Mustafa, can you hear me?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the show. What kind of
Thank you for having me.
What kind of election would it be for the NDC tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow's election is basically, from the purposes of the NDC, promising to be a very peaceful one. And it's going to be a win for our candidate at the back of hard work, dedication, and track record. We have been engaging with the people of Akwatia from all fronts, including engaging with the NPP people to find with active voting. Voting that, a deal of the development of the area, other than that for politics. If you look at the track record of the NPP, exemplified by the conduct Dr. Mamia yesterday, they cannot pinpoint a single developmental item in Akwatia, on which basis they will convince their own people to campaign for them. But even today and yesterday, We, after being in power for 8 months, are commissioning a very huge edifice of a decentralized EVLA complex, which is going to employ about 200 people. All those people are from Akwatia constituency. That's the first track record. We have also demonstrated the commitment of government in terms of regularizing and transforming the mining sector to the benefit of the community and the people. And they are very happy with that. Nanado cannot show, the NPP cannot show that under their 8 years reign, they have been able to take community mining to Akwatia, which is the backyard of the president and our officers. They haven't been able to show. We have also shown the commitment of President Mahama in terms of what Feed Ghana program is, in terms of enhancing cocoa farming, the scholarship packages for the farmers, reintroduction of the free fertilizer, reintroduction of the mass spraying, which government policy is going to be initiated. We have told the people that in the last 3 weeks, the NPP and its executive only came to the constituency on Thursday night for a vigil, and on Friday night for 5 days for the 1 week funeral. We have been here quite for some time engaging the people. So clearly, out of hard work, we are going to win. What may even interest you is that between the 2 candidates, all of them are local Achim indigents. And so every single member of that constituency, NDC MPP, is seeking to decipher from among them who is the policy material to best represent Parliament in their interest, coupled with the fact that in Akwatia constituency, they have always swinged. They have always changed depending upon the quality of the candidate. And so we are very certain in our mind that tomorrow's win will be for the NDC.
Because you talk about
we are also here to demonstrate to the MPP that besides just winning the election, we can also eschew violence, but demonstrate good, competence of political organizations to win an election. And that whatever we have done here in the last few weeks, there is nothing that points to the fact that there's a situation beyond control or there's going to be violence. And so we are committed to that, cooperating with the police and helping even the MPP themselves so that they don't fall out of order. We are fully in charge as a party in government. We are fully in charge as a government that owes a responsibility to ensure a peaceful and transparent election based on the functioning of state institutions. And so the NDC is here to cooperate and to help all the stakeholders in ensuring that the right thing is done.
In just a few seconds before I move to Haruna Mohammed, what do you say to people who say that your candidate really shouldn't be trusted, especially for how he must have breached the trust of his clients?
Well, those are people who don't understand the legal profession. At all material points in time, when the lawyer was a lawyer for another person, he has remained a member of NDC, a constituency secretary, a promising, progressing individual in the party, and at no point in time will being a lawyer and providing legal services bar a progressive individual from participating in an internal process within his party. So those comments are deeply seated divisive political comments that do not really add up to the quality of elections. But the most important thing as we speak is that there are 2 candidates, one from the MPP side, one from the NDC side. The MPP candidate has been in hiding for some time now because he's not fit for purpose. He is not able to communicate. He's not able to express himself eloquently to convince people. Our candidates have a track record of defending his constituents. That is the most important thing. The most important thing is that our candidate is worthy of being a parliamentarian. Yes, okay. Most of them. Akwatia Martin came here and became a spokesperson for a candidate. When you go to Parliament, it is not Akwatia Martin who will speak to represent the people of Akwatia. It is the MP that must represent those.
Okay, let me
and
bring
so that
in
conversation is neither here nor there.
Okay.
Just before you bring in Haruna.
Okay.
Bande, you say you are commissioning a DVLA office. When was the construction started?
I think we started the construction. They started it, and we came and we finished it, and then we are commissioning it today.
Oh, okay. So the NPP started during their time?
I should think so.
Okay. And your key campaign promise to the people of Akwatia has been?
We have been to partner with them to develop the place in terms of road infrastructure, in terms of job creation, and also the current transitioning of the small-scale mining, which is ongoing. Akwatia will not be left out. And the NPP knows that. Even Baumia was here yesterday to campaign.
Okay.
He couldn't pinpoint to one single developmental item. As a former vice president, based on which they should vote for their candidate. It was only propaganda. He has become a soothsayer and knew who killed NSP and who didn't kill NSP.
I'm grateful to you. I wanted some clarification. I've gotten it. MFA.
Thank you, Coach. Yeah. Well, let's bring in Haruna Mohammed, Deputy General Secretary for the NPP. Haruna, how are you doing? And tell me,
fine. That's it.
What's tomorrow looking like for you? What kind of election are you going into tomorrow? And what kind of results are you anticipating tomorrow?
Thank you very much. I say good morning to your cherished viewers and my colleague, Mustafa. We are going for a win tomorrow. There is nothing that is going to stop us from winning and retaining our seat in honor of our late MP, Honorable Yao NSP. But before I proceed to answer other questions coming from you, foremost, the DVL is a private building who is one of the Council of Elders, so who has had private structure put it up and been used to have the office full of yeah. So it's not a government, it's a private building.
Well, I don't know, but Haruna, I don't know, but the line keeps breaking.
The line is breaking.
Yeah.
So Haruna, if you just want to reposition yourself so we can hear you.
I am. Is it okay now?
Yes.
Yeah. A bit better.
Yes, I am saying that the DPLA building is a private man's building. And that private man is a member of the New Patriotic Party, who in fact is a council member of the party in the constituency, who has envisioned this structure, and government has decided that this structure be used for the purposes of licensing people to be able to drive responsibly on our street for safety of various individuals. And secondly, there are no two candidates in these elections. We have three candidates in this election. We have the NPP, we have the NDC, and we have the LPG. And then thirdly, if it comes to communication, people who can communicate and is given the trust of the two of them, then it's very questionable. You ask yourself, even the Greater Accra Regional Minister could not even be vetted because she cannot speak very well. The Sunyani West MP, you all heard her in Parliament, and many other people who have been throwing bombs in Parliament. Our candidate, which is Solomon Kwame Esumadu, is an astute businessman. He's a degree holder who has surpassed these particular levels. And he has established businesses that he has been able to employ over 5,000 people from Akwatia. So if you say he cannot speak, then deliberately you are exposing the persons or the human resource in your party who have demonstrated their inability to speak even in the House of Parliament. So we know that we have a very strong candidate who we are putting forward for the elections, and we know that our candidate is not going to be honest. Our candidate is not going to be a Judah. Our candidate is not going to throw his way around and to take the properties or things that belongs to the constituent in a manner in which that doesn't desire within the structure of our democracy. So for us, it's not anything at all. We are going to win the election.
As of this morning,
we are not going into the elections with violence.
Okay.
We are not going in there with violence. We are going in peacefully. But if violence comes our way, we have the right to defense in the Constitution. And we cannot be intimidated by anybody. Nobody will be in power forever. And he should not think that the way they have the lean way in Ablikmanop and misbehave, they will have it here. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
Never.
I hear the assurances you're giving that it's going to be a violence-free election tomorrow.
Exactly.
As of this morning, do you have still any security concerns that you as of this morning, are you going into tomorrow's election quite confident in the security?
For the security, the police is a professional body. The IGP, I have a very trust and confidence in him with the level of professionalism he has been able to exhibit in his profession up to date. He's somebody that is a very good person when it comes to intelligence and intelligence gathering. I have a lot to say about him. He should not let this election dent his credibility. We have good men in the police service. They should not let this election dent their level of professionalism. We know that the NDC is preparing to give uniforms, police uniforms to their staff, who they had used in various elections, and they are going to hand over police uniforms to them, and they are going to mark them. That is why we are saying that any marked person will be treated as a tag. Again, we will also fish out members of the NDC who they are putting in as police officers who will be wearing these police uniforms. And we are also alerting the Ghana Police Service to ensure that these people should be fished out. They should not allow them to come in and infiltrate in their services and make sure that their level of professionalism comes down. The peace of the world, in terms of the Ghana's ranking, we have come down. Look at what is happening in Boku. Look at what is happening in Kwaranza. Look at what is happening in Sola. Look at what is happening in Accra. Everywhere there is conflict. Peace and security is something that is on our throat. We cannot allow Akwatia to be part of that particular system. And we are of the view, before you can defend, that's why we say we are going, before you have to defend, somebody will have to do something. If that one is not done, then you will not see a defense. So today, we are pressing the button of Operation Firewall. A firewall is going to be built around every NPP member, and that is what we are going to go into the election.
What
firewall here is to defend.
What does that mean?
External intruders who will be coming in, who are not genuine, who are going to be opposing, and that is what we are going to do. We are for peace, and if they don't want peace and they bring violence, then we have the opportunity to defend, and that is why we are citizens of the Republic of Ghana.
What does that mean? Operation what?
Firewall. What does that mean?
What is firewall in the security terms, and also in the IT environment, is creating a defensive strategy where you are able to oppose an external intruding into a network system. That is very destructive, which is not part of the plan of the operations of the operating system.
What's your campaign message?
We are going to press the thumb of Operation Firewall to defend, so that any intruder, whether you are wearing a uniform that you don't desire to wear, whether you are a tag that you want to come and cause disruption and what have you, we have the opportunity and grounded in the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana to defend. And that is why we want a war. A war must defend us.
As of this morning, what's your campaign message to the people of Akwatia?
Our campaign message to the people of Akwatia is that we have been in government, we have done a number of things, a very high-level development projects that we have done. We have built hospitals, we have built clinics in several other places. We have been able to put together some certain road infrastructure. We have not been able to bring heaven to them. Most of the Deba grounds that they are going around and doing, we have helped to construct so that communities can use it for funerals and what have you. We have also given job opportunities to many other people. When we were also doing the Galam stop, we were able to make sure that at least responsible mining activities were instituted within this particular mining area. And we are very focused and know very well that some of these works that we have done and they are not completed, some of them are at culvert level that we needed to fill and make sure that we are able to put bitumen on them. We expect the NDC to continue because they are government in power and governance is continued. But it is obvious for you to know that in the 2025 budget of the NDC, no plan, no single project has been earmarked for Akwatia constituency. In the media budget of the NDC, no single project has been earmarked for Akwatia constituency. It tells you that the NDC doesn't have the Akwatia constituency in their mind, and development of Akwatia doesn't cross them. So they are not legitimate people to take over the seat of Akwatia. The people of Akwatia decided on the 7th of December, and they should maintain that decision to honor the late NS Yao Kumi for the people of Akwatia constituency.
Well, we've been engaging with both parties. It will be a good time to just engage with Doc and Prof as well to take their final messages. Well, Bandy, if you want to respond.
If you respond, I will respond.
Well.
Yeah, if you give me the opportunity, you have
I think we need to move on.
We need
to move on. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Yeah. let's bring in our Professor Saltpond. Prof, so as we conclude, you've listened to both parties now. What will be your advice to them as to the strategy that can help them win this election?
Well, so interesting, insightful conversation this morning. And when the two of them meet, you can be assured of some of this. If you come, I'll come, and all those things. Interesting. They should really demonstrate to all of us that they act the things they say. All of them, both my brother Mustafa and Haruna, have all promised us this morning that it's going to be peaceful from their camps. They should, for the first time, let's as a people demonstrate that we can behave without we being whipped or police or military and all those things. We can behave. We can give mutual respect to one another. Why would police deploy 5,500 people? Akwatia has about 119 polling stations. Let's say 120 polling stations. If you deploy 5,500 policemen to the place, it means well over 46 police people at one polling station. Why? Even war-torn areas and countries will not have this situation. But, I mean, it's based on how we have conducted ourselves in the past. The police, we know, will be professionals and they will not cause any chaos. So we call on the political parties to, at this point, demonstrate to us the things that they keep saying with their mouth. And for the first time, let's record a by-election that is extremely peaceful. And we will all gather after the elections to applaud them. As for winning, only one person would win. And if you win by the fall of human beings, blood, and all the chaos, conflict, you would not even enjoy your term as an MP. Your name will always be mentioned whenever the memory of the chaos or those who would fall is mentioned. Your name will definitely be part of it. They say if an event occurs at your backyard, anytime the event is mentioned, your name is also mentioned along with it. So we beg them. We beg them. Okay. As for the campaigns, they've said a lot. It is time for them to go and get their people out to vote in a process that is peaceful, in a manner that is peaceful and unites us. After tomorrow, Akwatia will still live as a constituency. Yeah. We want Akwatia to live united and not divided based on just a process of replacing a fallen member of parliament. So we beg them seriously.
That's Professor Saltpond, Director of Research and Innovation for the Kumasi Technical University. Dr. John Osai-Kwapong, you've listened to both parties now. Tomorrow is the day. All be your departing advice to them.
Yes. So I go back to the NCC Matters of Concern to the Ghanaian Voter research study in the lead up to 2024. There was a question about, are you prepared to engage in electoral violence? And only 1% said yes. But what was intriguing was the reasons why those who said yes would engage in electoral violence. One of them was, if I feel like my party is being cheated, and two, to fight for justice on behalf of my party. So I say all that to say that, one, electoral officials must make sure that whatever they do administratively tomorrow for this by-election will be done in such a way that doesn't create the impression for any political party to feel as though they are being cheated, and therefore there's a need to engage in a fight for justice for their party. But I also hope that, as I said earlier on, that the political parties would find a way to also be measured in their political temperament, and the security forces would also enforce the law, without fear or favor and impartially. I think if we are able to put all of these variables together, my hope is that we should have a peaceful election. As Prof said, it is not worth it for an electoral victory that is high. Unfortunate circumstances like electoral violence, where, God forbid, someone even loses their life over this.
Thank you very much. Dr. John Osai-Kwapong is a CDD fellow, a director in charge of the Democracy Project for CDD. Well, that's how we wrap up the top big story. Yeah. I was going to say top story. Big story for today. Thanks to you, all the people who joined us for this segment. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Welcome back from the break there. This is the AM show. Let's talk about, EVs and talk to Drive EVGH as the EcoBank Joint Habitat Fair draws very joining me in studio is Godfred Osu. He is Business Development Manager with Drive EVGH. Now, if we say Drive EVGH, what is it? What are you into?
Yes, so Drive EVGH is a Ghanaian-owned electric vehicle dealership, which is a three-way company. So we sell the cars. We also provide after-sales services. We have an ultra-modern service center, which if you sell the car for you and you have any problem, we're also there to support you. We're also building charging infrastructures. So we have a charging stations around the country that is called X-Charge EV. So everywhere you see X-Charge EV, it was best from Drive EVGH, basically.
But so why is EVs, or what advantage do EVs have over traditional gasoline-powered vehicles?
Yes, so a lot of advantages, right? So these two main points. We have saving the environment and also saving your pockets as well. You know, if you're driving an EV, it's a way that you're also contributing to saving the environment and as well saving yourself a whole lot of money on running costs, that is saving yourself from fuel, and also maintenance cost as well.
If I have an EV and say I'm going to do a round trip to Takoradi and back, can I do that?
Yes, of course, of course. So we have cars that we've been using for that. Personally, our company, we do trips to prove that, yes, these cars can go on trips. We've done a trip to Kumasi and back, a trip to Takoradi and back, a trip to Techiman and back on a single charge. So we have this car that we use for Kumasi and back, the S-Pen G9. We spent about 180 cedis on charge. We went to, on that same car, we went to Takoradi and back. When we came back, we had about 30% battery left on the car.
And how much do you spend on the Takoradi one?
On the Takoradi, so it was on full charge. That also cost us 180 cedis.
Okay.
And when we came back to Accra, we still had 35% on the car.
Wow, interesting. Well, but what is this X-Charge EV and what people refer to as the issue of range anxiety?
Yeah, so what X-Charge EV is doing about range anxiety is, you know, that is the problem of all the Ghanaians. If someone wants to switch to electric cars, they will be like, what if I buy the car and I'm going somewhere and I'm unable to charge the car? Yes, so we are there to eliminate that problem. We are building charging infrastructures. Currently in Accra, we have about 5 to 6 charging stations in Accra. We are building some in Kumasi, Accra High Road, Takoradi, Sunyani, Volta region, everywhere. So that's the whole plan. We are building charging infrastructure to kill the range anxiety. So if you go somewhere, you have the free mind that I can charge my car. It's just like the fuel station. If you are going somewhere and you know that there's a fuel station, you do not really have range anxiety. So we are trying to build charging infrastructures to feel like the fuel stations where you can have access to charging stations anywhere you go.
But is there no way I can charge a vehicle? For example, if I move from Takoradi to, say, Cape 3 Point, or, say, Princess Town, that's quite distant from Takoradi itself.
Right.
Is there an alternative to that station that you are building?
Yes, so you have the option to go for, so if you buy a car from us, we give you a travel charger.
Okay.
We also give you a home charger, all right? So the travel charger, what it does is, if you are going to a place where there's no charging station at all, because of this range anxiety, we are trying to take that out. We give it a travel charger where you can just plug into a 13-amp socket and connect it to your car. As long as there's electricity, you can charge your phone, you can as well charge your car. So you plug it to a normal socket, you connect it to the car, leave it on by morning, you are good to go.
Interesting. But do you have a special technology which is different from what your competitors are offering in terms of the X-Charge?
The charging. Yes, of course, of course. So with X-Charge EV, you know, we are very tech advanced. So unlike, most of our competitors run it just like the fuel stations where you go, there's someone there, you give the person money, and then the person charges for you. But with X-Charge EV, it's a mobile app, so you can keep track of how much you are spending on charging daily, monthly, weekly. So you just have to sign up. If you sign up, you go to the charging station, you just connect to your charging port to your car, and you press on start on the mobile app, and then you are good to go. So even if times that there's nobody there to help you, assist you, it's just easy peasy. You just load your wallet with mobile money. All right, okay. So it's a mobile app where you just load your wallet with the mobile money, you connect your charging port, you press on start, and then you're good to go.
With the mobile wallet?
Yes, with the mobile app. Yeah.
Okay, wow. But, these EV cars are expensive. That's what we've come to know. I mean, the other time we were asking around.
Yeah.
But with a good financing scheme, anyone can own one.
Right.
So do you have such a scheme?
Yes. So we have a financing scheme with most of the banks, which EcoBank is part of it. So we'll give you a 5-year payment plan to pay the car off, where you'll be deducted every month for the 5-year period, basically.
Okay. So 5-year payment plan is what you have.
So as long as you're a salaried worker, you can go for it, and then they'll be deducting you every month for 5 years.
Okay.
Which makes it easy for everyone to access.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I would have to come to you and check which of your cars I can own here, and have a 5-year development plan, payment plan with EcoBank.
Right.
But if someone is interested, as I am, someone who's listening is interested, how do we contact you even after the fair?
Yes, so Drive EVGH, we are on every social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So you can just put Drive EVGH, you'll find us there. Also, if you want to call us, you can call us on 0540-474787. 0540-474787. You can as well walk to our showroom. You can just put Drive EVGH showroom on the Google map, and then it will bring you directly to us.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much, my friend. That's Godfred, also his business development manager for Drive EVGH, and they are part of the EcoBank Joy News Habitat Fair, which is coming up September 12 to 14 at the Good Park, Accra Mall. Well, we'll take a break here. We'll return with much more. Do stay.
Welcome to Monday. My name is Derek Elom Ashilevi, and you know what? It's a segment where we bring you what's hot, what's spicy, and of course, we're making headlines on social media. And of course, I like to do with this pretty lady,
Jacqueline Asmaibo. And of course, when you see us here, the TL has actually given us a lot to talk about. This weekend was content overload. Derek.
Jackie, I think one story that really took me aback was a story that happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
It has to do with the homo clash in Sowutuom. Guess what? I live in that vicinity.
Yeah.
And so I was a Saturday, I was somewhere in Medina. I got a call from my cousin asking me not to come home. Or if I'm going to come home, I should use Ablekuma to the house. Yeah. And I mean, why? Because two factions, I think I shouldn't even call them factions.
It's not factions.
Two groups of guns, Sowutuom had celebrated their Omo the week before.
And other places they have.
And so it was time for another community called Dwenewoho to celebrate their Omo, Homo, where, they take the pokpoi and they go around.
It's the way you're trying to break in the West for
because to sprinkle it, and of course that act is to purify the land.
Yeah.
Jackie, guess what? The people of Dwenewoho somewhat extended their boundary into a little bit, not too much into Sowutuom. And Jackie, just what we thought, something that could have easily been, Charlie, you guys go.
Just forget about it.
Especially when these are both guns, similar culture, everything we do, you believe in it. It escalated, and by the time we realized, Charlie, the poor guns, then see the visuals. We'll bring you comments after that.
By the Sowutuom people.
The incident happened in one of the busy trading hubs in Sowutuom, surrounded by several container shops. At the location where one of the deceased fell, a closer look revealed blood droplets, but a tire bent at the same location smells the blood marks. Some of the aluminium containers had bullet holes in them and shattered glass windows. The area was quiet as opposed to the vibrant Sunday sales. An eyewitness recounted what happened.
The gun shop.
Some lives were lost.
Yep.
Yeah.
Part of the people who lost their life is the son of the chief of Sowutuom. In fact, what makes the whole thing a little quiet some way, because Charlie, a chief son is involved. Yeah. It really got social media bustling, and of course, people had comments to say. But before we dash into the comments, MFR Dirty. This is not something that just happened in Sowutuom. We saw it happen in Teshi, where the same homo sprinkling thing. It's like now our festivals are sort of clad
It wasn't just even in Accra. I mean, Kofi, Adoma, other places, you usually see this happen. Yeah, that usually during festivals there's violence. But we all know that festivals, I mean, as children when we're growing up, festivals are supposed to unite us and all that. But now it's turned into something violent.
I think that it tells us that it's not the festivals, it is the chieftaincy disputes that exist already before these celebrations, or the misunderstandings between traditional leaders or people before it gets to the celebration. So the celebration grounds just becomes an opportunity for them to express it. And that's how I see it. And so it can only be nipped in the bud from traditional level, both sides, chieftaincies, you know, settling their disputes even before it gets to celebration, really.
You make a very important point, and I sort of agree to it, you know. Jackie, what has social media been saying?
Well, Benison says that, funny enough, that thing they were sprinkling was to purify the land.
You know?
Is it a okay. All right. The correct pronunciation of that. Crystal says that Mr. IGP, where you did now, Accra is not
Jackie,
safe.
hold on there for me. We all were here when Dr. Dampire was in charge.
Yeah.
There are some things you cannot get away with. Guess what? Up till now, the police has not arrested anybody.
But I think they issued a statement yesterday or some hours ago.
You know, when lives are being lost. And so it makes people call for, where is the IGP? And don't forget.
They are in Akwatia.
Of course, with 5,000, we'll get to that story pretty sure.
Yes.
5,500 policemen deployed. But it gets people begging, where's the security?
Sure, so let me pick one last comment here. So Big Mouth God says that all guns must be taken from them and investigating how they acquired it. Let me pick this comment. Fakasi says that Sowutuom literally means hold your gun. You know, Francis, Sowutuom. Sowutuom. Did you understand that? Sowutuom.
I'm just learning this.
Yeah, Sowutuom.
Yeah, and they didn't hold their TO yet.
I know, right?
Wow.
I mean, by best to know how we even name towns. I mean,
Sowutuom, hold your gun.
Yeah. I mean, let's move on. Another story that's quite bubbling, you know, and sort of isn't resting is Akwatia. Of course, on the AM, they did quite a number of build up to that. And there's a lot more interesting stuff to what's happening in Akwatia tomorrow. Guess what? 5,500 police personnel have been deployed. And this is just a constituency election.
With roughly 120 polling stations.
You know,
which is less than Ablekuma.
North.
Yeah, Ablekuma had more than 200 police.
It begs the question,
like 120.
Why would 5,500 police personnel be deployed? Well, we saw what happened in Ablekuma North.
Yeah.
Sort of, I mean, NPP feeling that they were not protected. And so we've heard some of their people make very bold and emphatic statement that they'll protect themselves. Yeah. But of course, the IGP has assured that if you go and mess up at Akwatia, you find yourself quite wanting.
Yeah.
We saw them, they moved in early on. They were even training how people invade.
When they were doing the recce and all that.
Yeah, how they'll stop ballots, boxes from missing and all of that. So that's what's happening in Akwatia. And something happened over the weekend that I think you should know about.
It was on Friday.
The NDC chairman, General Mosquito, Asiedun Ketia, with his delegation, you know how funerals happen, you go and you pay your homage and all of that. And their team were booed and nearly attacked. You know, you see the visuals pretty surely were on the screen.
But let's tell them which funeral that was.
Yeah, tell me about it, Jackie.
It was for Ernest Kumi. He was I was about to say he was the MP. I mean, the whole reason why Akwatia, there's so much tension there is all because of the passing of Ernest Kumi. So that's the reason why he was there. Because I know when someone dies, we forget our political parties. I'm NPP, I'm NDC. They were all there. And before they entered, this also happened. They were booed and all that. I think they didn't want him there, though.
Great.
Should we say it was an NPP funeral? Or?
Well, I mean, you characterize what happened, because this is a funeral. They're paying respect to the dead. It's not a place to show party colors.
Yeah.
And guess what? Henry Nanabuache spoke, and he made it quite emphatic that even the NDC delegation that showed up, they didn't show up in respect. In the video we played earlier on, there's a part where the NDC guys show up with party colors, and even some of their attire. This is a funeral, Jackie, for that matter. There's a way you show up in somebody's house.
Yeah.
You don't show up with of course, I'm not here inciting anybody to maybe warrant that what they did, they deserve the attack. But guess what? Mustafa Gbande confirmed yesterday on Newsnight that the NPP Eastern Regional Chairman came to later see them and apologize for what happened, you know. So that's what we know about Akwatia. What else do we know? Dr. Mahmoud Baumia was in Akwatia. All the bigwigs are there. And he made a certain statement that got social media really thinking, dog, you know. And he sort of linked Mr. Kumi's death to the stress that came from NDC's getting NS Kumi to go to court in and out, back and forth. But maybe he has a point. But maybe not, because this is a funeral.
I mean, for now, we can't say, but that is what Bawumia is saying.
That's what I mean.
That's why he's trending on social media. We don't know what attributed to his demise, but what we know is that this is what Dr. Bawumia is saying, that so-and-so is the reason why Kumi lost his life. Do we have the video, or we just talk about...
I don't think we have the video,
yeah.
Of course, because of time.
Yeah.
But it also got people thinking that this shouldn't be a campaign message.
Yeah.
I mean, why don't we debate ideas on vote us into power, because we are a better manager of the economy, MFA. Before I even go to the last point, what do you make of this whole Akwatia thing that has a lot of...
Especially Bawumia's statements, though.
Yeah.
I'll skip Bawumia's statements and say that sometimes when you're seeking power, you are that same person, whether you're at a naming ceremony, a festival, a party, or a funeral. Yeah. It's hard to want to differentiate. And especially if the deceased person is not very close to you, you only go ceremonially, really. So it's not surprising. Plus, it's Akwatia. It's just tomorrow. They're going into election. People sleep with their party colors. They eat with their party colors. I'm not surprised that party colors showed up at that funeral. I'm not.
You have a point. Yeah. Guess what? So there's boots for boots campaign happening in Akwatia. Almost all the big ones are there. The president, Akufo-Addo, former president, I beg your pardon.
I don't know if he has left already.
Well, I mean, we saw...
Oh, he was at Lumba. Lumba was this weekend, so I'm sure after.
Okay,
anyways, I don't know his movements, but he was there.
He was there. Dr. Bawumia has been there. Kennedy Japan has been there.
Yeah.
In fact, we've even had President Mahama throwing his support for the NDC parliamentary candidate. It got people quite talking. Jackie, what do we know on social media?
Well, social media, Citizen says that 5,000, these party forces will break him and behave.
We hope not.
Even the numbers. And Nana Easy says that the pressure was real. He should have managed it better. And that's to NS Kumi. Maoli K says that these are the kind of comments that infuriate ignorant people to engage in unnecessary violence just because they feel their MP was killed by the NDC. Last comment here. Using someone's predicament to campaign for elections is the lowest of the lows. What does that have to do with development they want? This is very embarrassing. So some of the comments on all that is true.
Well, we're hoping for a very, smooth elections. We don't want any clashes, Charlie. Ghana is for all of us, and so we're not going to throw it away because of a political party, you know. Now let's get to our next story that made headlines. It's our very own Daddy Lumba's 1 week observation. Jackie, what do I need to know about, what happened over the weekend?
Well, when it comes to Daddy Lumba, people would wish his 1 week he would be celebrated almost every weekend. So I'll say that half of Ghana is in Akwatia, half of Ghana was at Daddy Lumba's 1 week. That's how I'll put it. Half of Ghana was there and the other part was at Akwatia. A lot of people, we saw former President Nana Akufo-Addo, we saw I think former education minister, most politicians and most celebrity Sarkodie was there. I could go on and on. We saw Jackie, a lot more people chipping into, more with the family. But then on the screen, you see videos of their first wife, Odobroni, crying with bloggers all over.
And Jackie, when I saw this, I was quite incensed. MFA, how does somebody, I get it, we're in a social media era. You want, but be a little sensitive. The person is crying and you're literally shoving the cameras in her nose.
Really?
Man.
Really? We can't cry in peace anymore.
I think this is very, very, very sad and very, very, very unkind to the family. Kunata released a song over the weekend.
Yeah.
And he mentioned that, as something toward that, you don't pay attention to the lyrics.
Yeah.
Inferring that if it were your family member who was lying or mourning, are you sure you probably take a camera?
In as much as we really want to get the story, it's just my advice that we should just do so cautiously so that we just wouldn't infringe on anybody, because the woman was crying. Can't you just stand somewhere and just zoom?
Especially bloggers. Jackie, why would you say something?
So Chief Tuleke, Ghanaian musician, says that, can't she cry in peace?
Charlie.
This is so wrong. A Ghanaian Duchess says that 1 week in Pune, and the actual funeral will be to say bam. Big Soul says that the way funerals are conducted in Ghana is truly remarkable. A lot of people sharing their comments when it comes to the 1 week celebration.
And I think the remarkable, he didn't mean it in the good light.
Really?
Yeah. Because, Jackie, we have a way of...
simple,
Let's move on to our next story, which made headlines. Akwawa versus what? Why? I didn't know. Oba.
MFA should help us out with the pronunciation.
You know, and this whole debate thing took online because, I mean, some people felt that we've projected the Akan language, Akwaba, the term, over the, you know, traditional Gan language version of the same welcome, which is Obake.
Yeah.
And it got social media really crazy. And for this story, I'm very particular about how I'm telling you about it because I don't want us to get tribalistic. You know? And I think I want to remind all of us that there are certain languages that may belong to a particular tribe, but guess what? They are now nationalized.
Yeah.
Another word that, I mean, has been marketed is a word called Chale.
Yeah.
Chale is a Gan word to say body, like my G.
Yeah.
But now the Gans cannot claim sole ownership because Chale is used all over the world.
Yeah.
Another Gan word that we all like so much that now we use it in our workplace everywhere is Ayiko. Should we now say that the Ayiko belongs to the Gans? And so, you know, do you get it? It can get very murky. And so what do we say here? Or we're just telling you that, Charlie, let's move beyond. Of course, I get the argument about inclusivity. Let's engage, and of course, in other places, as it's done, if it's welcome in other languages, as we see it in other places. But let's not divert this whole thing.
We are not like that, Ghanaians. You are really not like that.
Like, you know, we are together. One of the things that shows that both, there's something we all love about Ghana is our unity.
Yeah.
There's a popular video I saw, like the Kenke video. Kenke. I mean, when I'm watching that video,
I know, right?
I'm not thinking because I'm an ever. Do you get it? And so, please, as for this story, we're intentional about how we're telling you. One Ghana, we all support the Black Star. It shouldn't be that the next moment I'm passing Jamestown because I'm not a Ghana. I should literally fear for my life. It got social media really talking about this. We're one people, sincerely.
Yeah.
Jackie, run me through some of the comments.
Some few comments here. So, Showboy the blogger says that, is the airport for Ga people only or does it serve the whole Ghana? Then Makafui says that, no, we've accepted Akwaba and we are not complaining. Don't be part of this agenda. Big Boy here says that Akwaba is okay for the entire country. I mean, that's what's been going on social media. Everybody giving their point as to why they believe this is okay, that is okay, and all that. So that is what has been trending on social media. But we have a video.
Before the video, you know how sometimes life is serious, but some people have a way to joke with life.
I know, right?
Please stand by the video of the day. You watch this video pretty sure. You know how we are all doing, I saw a comment as we are doing Akwaba. Okay. Somebody said, let's make the do and do.
Now, you know, every...
Okay. You know, people are aware of, you know, but please see the video of the day. We'll bring you comments after that.
Nice. Edinede. But the baby yasa abrofone bebanomo nkasa o mekasa o bake. Ahansi yanto pano wa ha. O ba Kennedy Edinede. But the baby yasa abrofone bebanomo nkasa o mekasa o bake. Ahansi yanto pano wa ha.
Why did we decide to bring you this video? It's just to let you know that, hey, let's not make issues of things that are, you know, let's be cool, let's flow with it.
One people,
you know, we're one people.
That kind of unity.
We need it. I mean, Jackie is an Asante or
pure girl.
I love her effortlessly. My sister pretty, I'm for here. It's ever, you know, yeah, we're cool. Louis and the team here, solid people. We don't have to now get, you know, tribalistic. And of course, I think what we should rather shift our energy to is to be fighting for the development of our country.
Yeah.
I saw an interesting statistics that shows that data that SpaceX, Elon Musk's SpaceX is investing $300 trillion into AI. We are here fighting Obake and Akwatia.
Oh, big. On that note.
Man, we come and wrap in the trends with me, Derek, Elom, Ashilevi. And of course, Jackie is heading over to Akwatia. Yeah.
You have to tell everybody.
She's bringing us everything that is happening. You don't want to miss out on that. Thank you so much for joining us on In the Trends. MFA, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Derek, and thank you so much, Jackie. Jackie with her forehead like where she comes from, the mountains. But thank you so much for bringing us a trend. I always look forward to that. But quickly, before we wrap the show, I'd like to remind you that Digital Asset Summit Africa is happening this September, 29th to 30th day of September. You don't want to miss out. You can head to dasummitafrica.com, dasummitafrica.com to register to be part of this big conversation, Digital Asset Summit Africa. But thank you so much for starting your week with us, starting your month with us. Tomorrow is a big day. You want to stay with us here on your election headquarters. We'll bring you everything. Of course, trust Jackie to bring you every content on digital as well. Thank you for watching the show. I'm MF. editing. I did this with Samuel Kujobraze. We'll see you tomorrow, but I'll see you at 12 for the news bulletin.